Hello, everybody.
Nick is back at the paint desk.
We are back. We are painting. Well, actually, we're building. We're building
Nick's
Vipers.
favorite.
Gonna build 2 Vipers today.
These Vipers we've had sitting in the closet of shame for 8 months or so. Nick was super excited about Eldar at the very beginning of 9th edition.
When I was
It's
wrong.
come full circle.
That's what happens.
But no, you're excited about Eldar. And why are you excited about Eldar?
Well, I'm excited about Dire Vendors going back down to 11. Nothing else really changed for Eldar. While we Stanley fight got harder. So, this probably wasn't enough to make Eldar awesome. But it's definitely cool because I was like all about the Dire Avenger life before, and they got better. So I'm like back on the Dire Avenger train. I don't have the list I really wanted to be running because we don't have the 9 Shadow Weavers up and running yet. And we're not going to by Thursday, but that's on the docket one of these days.
And why would you run Shadow Weavers? There's a lot of 2-up armor in the game right now, and it's only AP 0 until you roll those Rens. So.
Jinx is a great spell.
Jinx?
Jinx is a great spell, and they are amazing while we Stanley fights.
All right. The Mark Perry logic. Get him in there.
Unlike the Fate Scammer, this will actually do something.
You got to get the Fate Scammer and the Mutilith Vortex Beast. Amazing while we stand.
Amazing while we stand.
Love Mark. All right, let me make these posts real quick. I am going to be working on some Grey Knights for tomorrow's stream game, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and that is Grey Knights versus Nick's White Scars. Nick makes his triumphant return to the White Scars.
I wanted to run the Brown Scars proper with 30 Vanguard vets, but then Steve was like, don't use my Vanguard vets, they're red, they don't match the White Scars. I'm like, fine. So,
I mean, was I wrong?
I'm just saying, it's not the Brown Scars proper. This is basically John's list now.
Is it that it's the list John went undefeated with?
It's not quite. I did mess some stuff
I did see.
up.
You actually took some of the ideas I've used for Blood Angels.
Have I? What did
Yeah,
you
the small Blade Guard units.
Oh, I think they're great in White Scars.
Yeah.
Advance and Charge Blade Guard are they actually get places. I don't know why you like it in Blood Angels, to be honest, because they're slow.
They're just durable.
They're durable.
A lot more durable than the regular infantry.
They are durable.
You know, there's no guarantee they actually die. I mean, you took like 5 minutes in the Scissors game just thinking, should I even split fire here against this Blade Guard?
I don't trust you with any die rolls, and having a 4-up die invul means basically I have to cause like 18 saves for him to fail 1, so we gotta do the math for that. Like, I know a normal person would die here, but if Sieg's math, you gotta account for it.
I didn't roll any Sieg's math.
You didn't. That was an interesting. You didn't roll Sieg's dice and you got table. Fun stuff.
I rolled below average.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Getting a lot of video frames dropped on stream, guys. Audio is fine, but you're like 1 frame every 5-10 seconds. Let's see if there's any issue.
Perhaps it is our internet connection. Does it reach this far well?
It should be fine.
Our tech Bree says it should be fine.
I mean, because we've streamed on here multiple times, and we have
That's
an
true.
issue with it.
That's true. Well, I noticed it was kind of crappy in my room the other day too, so I'm wondering what's up.
I'll look into it.
So we're just gonna build these 2 Vipers today, everyone, and then I think John is going to come in and replace me because I am neck deep in Excel. Neck deep.
Neck deep?
Neck deep.
Is that where you want to be?
No.
Why not?
I've also been wearing the same pants for the entire weekend, and I probably should change.
It's great information. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not seeing any issues on our end, so it must be the internet. Maybe it'll have little spikes. Maybe there's a Mark Perry storm in the area.
It's the weather.
It's the weather. But hopefully we sound okay. Is John downloading gigabytes of anime again? I don't think so.
You never know.
You never know.
He did say Machacho was coming over to watch some anime later.
But yeah, how you feeling about White Scars into Grey Knights?
I mean, these are 2 armies that I rate incredibly highly, so I think it'll be a very interesting game. I'm also interested because this is a Grey Knight list that I haven't seen you bust out before. This is like an MSU Grey Knight list. I've not seen this style. I'm used to the MSU elements running around doing stuff while a giant brick of Paladins or a giant brick of Terminators does the lifting. In Sieg's new army, which the list will be up tomorrow, he's got 3 units of Purifiers, 3 units of 10 Purifiers, the combat squad down.
Yep.
It's interesting stuff. So I personally think that's a little easier for me, but I'm
I'll
missing
still
something.
keep at least one unit as a 10-man to throw
so
all the buffs on.
So you can
yeah.
astral aim that one and
Yeah,
make my life
exactly.
miserable. So yeah, no, this will be hard, but it'll be an interesting game. I wish I had the 30 Vanguard vets. I think that's like the direction I want to go with Space Marines, but we don't have 30 ready to roll yet. I'm sorry, I didn't have 30 Lightning Claws and Storm Shields on command. One day.
I mean, we bought out pretty much all the Vanguard vets from Warfire when they had them in stock. I actually went there physically and was like, all right, I'll
Give me
take all
take
those.
every single one you got. No, come back. Oh boy.
Do you build everything in an army first or build and paint one unit at a time? I am the type of person to just sit there and build the whole thing. Like the Necrons, I just got it done as quickly as possible.
The nature of our job has really changed the way I approach collecting armies, but when I was a normal person collecting armies, as a not a professional player, I've typically built everything up and then painted it slowly. Because once it's built, I feel like I can put it on the table and learn how it works and play games with it. I can't really do that when it's not even built yet. So there's no point in my brain like building a unit, painting a unit, then go buy the next unit, build a unit, paint a unit, because
It's all about playing.
it's all about playing. But that's just my personal take on it, you know, to each their own.
It's different now because in order to play it, it has to be fully painted
Well,
on stream, generally.
on streams, yeah. We hold ourselves to a different standard than most gamers, I imagine. But you never know. You never know.
So that's why, like, John and I will just sit here for a whole afternoon and just finish, the elements of a list that we need.
And this is why I don't.
Nick uses witches.
Mark
Everything.
Witches are great.
Witches are everything.
Furies?
Furies.
I can't see the chat. Is anyone talking? I see a lot of
Yeah,
people talking.
there's a whole bunch of people.
I love people.
Happy Monday to everybody, says Adam, and Fat Dingo as well. How you guys doing?
How is everyone doing?
Vanguard vets don't kill paladins.
Nah, but Raptors do.
Raptors do. Well, when you stack every single buff on a Raptor unit,
I'm pretty sure
and Death of the False Emperor.
Vanguard vets would also kill paladins. I don't really think that.
I mean, they'll kill some of them.
Like a unit of 10 Vanguard vets with buffs will kill, maybe not 10 paladins, but it will make that unit not scary anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that their paladins are so good is because you can transhuman them if you need to. You can put the sanctuary on them, warding staves, so they'll have a 3-up invuln in combat, and then 3 wounds, pretty tough there, and you can put -1 to wound on them as well.
Yeah. No, they're tough.
So you can stack a lot of defensive buffs, but they're very expensive, 50 points a model. That is not cheap, Nick.
Less than a plasma scepter these days. Plasmosis. Plasmosis. These are old Eldar models when they like have the kit just comes like an old kit. Like they're so. This reminds me of like when I was like 13 years old playing this game.
I mean, the Viper kit is quite old.
The Viper kit is no joke.
I've never seen a Viper on the table, actually.
You're about to see too. I wonder what Mark is going to play into me. Mark is scheduled to play some weird chaos stuff, and
I mean, there's Raptors, Warp Talons, Terminators, Lightning Claws.
Sky's the limit with
all
that
the
one.
good stuff.
Which chapter do you think it's going to be?
Plague drones. It's going to actually be Nurgle. It's all the plague drones.
I wish. I love the plague drones. They went down.
Yeah, 5 points a model is not bad.
No, 35 for them is not a bad cost.
That's actually very reasonable.
Yeah.
Especially now you can get the Greater Unclean one there and get them back, right?
No.
Get them out.
We're not doing the Great Unclean
That's an
one.
Australia list.
Every time I try the Great Unclean one, I get angry.
Like 300-point model did nothing all game, but he's a great while he stands.
He always stands.
Blocks my whole army or himself. You gotta love the Great Unclean one. Thinking about scaling down the number of armies from 5 to 2 since they take so long to paint well. Takes longer when you don't go for eBay paint jobs. eBay paint jobs is not too bad to just start with. Like part of the Necron collection I got was just a lot on eBay. Same for the Tyranids.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly base coated. Some of them were painted to a highlighted standard.
When I get models off eBay, which it's been a minute, I typically just assumed I'd be repainting them.
Yeah.
Like I just pride.
Or at minimum be putting like the layers on there and all the highlighting.
Like when I get stuff off eBay, it's usually just because Games Workshop is sold out. at the time, or whatever place I go to get the models that sold out at the time. But it really, I don't look at it as like I'm gonna have a fully painted army off eBay now. It's like I still gotta put the work in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not like mine. You know?
But then you're going there because it's very cheap.
Yeah, cheap and convenient.
And it's usually,
Stuff you
a
could.
good lot, yeah. A question about what do we think of the Death Guard rules that they previewed today?
I took a look at them.
Mortarion can have, 4 Warlord traits?
I think 3, or I don't know.
I think he has 3 base and then gets an extra one if he's with his trait.
I mean, it's hard because the rules they showed us don't really give us much as far as context. Like, they seem like cool rules, but I don't know what they mean.
There wasn't anything bad on there. Like, Blight Haulers with the mowers, 12 attacks with a weapon skill 3. Yeah. That's just good. What's the points on it, though?
You see, this is how directions need to come. Is the camera working? Oh, it's just lag.
Yeah.
This is how directions need to come. There's no numbers. There's no A32 with the B46. This is just the piece that looks like that. Put it on the piece that looks like that. It's very simple. It's great. They've made things so complicated now. I don't know why.
I want to see you build the Silent King because you would give up after the first couple parts.
I gave up on Sisters.
Yeah, I know, but it's even more funny because the Silent King is probably the hardest build that I've had to do because every single sprue has the piece that you need.
No.
It's amazing. But yeah, everything that we've seen from Death Guard seems very strong. I mean, we're already anticipating that they're going to be very meta-shaping. So, John and I are already thinking about Thunderhammers for our Marines. Nick's probably thinking about it for his Death Watch. Get some more hammers in there.
The only thing I'm thinking of is how do these go together. This doesn't make any sense.
I thought you were just talking about how easy the old kits are.
This is easy, but the thing with the old kits is you have to learn them. Once you learn them, it's really
Once
easy.
you master them.
But
Once you build 2, you could build 9 Vipers, no problem.
Yeah, no. You remember when I was building the Star Weavers, the first one took me an hour, the next 4 took 10 minutes? It was like that.
Are we ready for the Deathcore Rider meta? Deathcore of Krieg are really good, the Riders. I don't know why they have a 5 of paint. For that cheap.
I learned that yesterday.
I was like, do they need that? Because the fact that they got orders is already amazing, let alone that they can get a 5.
They make Cerberus Raiders bad.
Yeah, and Nick was complaining about Cerberus Raiders.
Those
Deathcore
are
Krieg
worth complaining about, yes.
No, they're fine.
No.
When I haven't even used that strat in the last 3 AdMech games.
That's because I don't let you. That doesn't mean that it's not
valuable.
valuable.
I just don't want to spend 2 CD.
I'm just not charging you because I'm
running 3 mans.
I'm shooting your ponies. That's the problem.
When my marker drones end up being as much as an intercessor, but Cataphrone Rangers are unchanged, think Games Workshop is telling me something? Yep. Tau, they don't like Tau.
Tower, great.
Double turn of fall back and shoot, though. I can get it.
What is this?
You gotta run Farsight, though.
This is like a baby carrier.
This isn't a Grey Knight Dread Knight. Have you guys got any thoughts on the FAQ after a few days for it to sink in?
I think there's still going to be a lot of stuff that we need to just really come to grips with over time. While we stand we fight is a big one. Knowing how to build lists for that is something that I don't think is going to be intuitive for a lot of people. And I have ideas, but I don't know if it's worth going so far out of my way to make them work. Bringing it down too. You could take a lot of vehicles now that you really couldn't take before without bleeding points. So I think there's a lot of exploration that needs to be done there. But no, I think our initial takes were pretty spot on. I'd say it's just a matter of really coming to grips with it.
Yeah, I really like Custodians a lot now. I want to test out a unit of bikes and get them back on the table because they seem very good, especially with the FAQ update where you just take the total AP for AP modification rules.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of AP1 that was going to AP2 or AP0 going to 1 that now Custodians just don't care about. So really excited for the future for Custodians. They seem to really be paying a lot of attention to them as well.
Yeah, I think they really care about Custodians. They're like, this is an army we want to be good.
Because they get attention in every single one of these updates, which means they're not forgotten, and certain factions are.
Tyranids?
GSC? Why are the
GSC,
Gene Stealers themselves?
GSC got their one update for the decade. They're done. They don't need more. Just being greedy.
4 Warlord traits on Morty, now that's what I call a Primarch. Yeah, that does make him very interesting. And they were good ones too, like Arch Contaminator. You can get. That's the one that every Death Guard list takes, and I assume it's unchanged. Maybe they'll make some changes to it, but it seems like one that would actually carry over.
Yeah.
I have 30 to 50,000 points full of painted orcs. Wow. Did you paint all of it yourself? Orcs is one of the most draining armies to paint, I feel.
I'm so happy I did my orcs in 3 horrible days. Because like, this is done now, and I never have to look at them again. I'm just going to block those 3 days of life out of my existence, and
Yeah,
that's what I did.
Alright, I gotta have all the Burner Boys, the Storm Boys, the Tank Busters, the Ludas, everything. It's just boys everywhere, with just a slightly different weapon.
I don't know how I built and painted 2,500 points of orcs in 3 days, and based them.
You were a different man back then.
I was... Yeah.
Can the Purifiers get a 2-up invuln in combat? Sanctuary and the Warding Stave can only get to 3-up.
Oh, it doesn't get to 2s? I thought that was the whole trick.
No, they FAQ'd that a long time ago.
Oh, you're going to get destroyed. You're going to get destroyed, Siegs. Alright, I'm going to charge you with my whole...
A single unit of Silencers is just going to pick up a whole Inceptor unit, and Nick's going to be like, I'm done. I quit this game.
No,
Literally quit this
game.
game.
These aren't wraiths. I'll just have John roll my 6 up penal pains. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to kill one scepter, wound the next, and then both are going to get healed.
D3 plus 1. All I need is 3 ups to kill him.
You're not doing nothing.
Silencers is so good.
The thing with the silencers and the white scar is that if you're in range to shoot me, I'm in range to charge you.
That's true, but I could be all on different sides.
No, one side.
Siegs, have you played with Interceptors yet with Grey Knights? Seems cheap for a fast unit that can redeploy. Like, they are super solid. I just found I haven't really needed it, and I'd rather just have that as like a strike squad because it's OBSEC and I can come down and use the strat for...
And you have gate on like everybody, so
pretty
like,
much,
you don't need to go more out of your way for redeploys.
I just haven't found I needed to slip that fast attack in.
I took some swooping hawks though.
Yeah, like they're certainly not bad. They're slightly more expensive for that little ability to redeploy, get you scrambler points. I just haven't found it necessary yet. Yeah, like you say, I found it pretty redundant. But if I ever really needed it, even with infiltrators in the meta, I haven't found it like that necessary, frankly, because you just do it late game with the gate. How do you guys see any value to Ardent Shroud Immolators, Retributors, or Dominions for the extra speed ability to get angles for shots?
I really don't think there's time in Sisters to go to Ardent Shroud. Like, you gotta have Bloody Rose. Like, there's no world where you don't take a Bloody Rose detachment. It's just too good. And then between Order of Martyred Lady and Ebon Chalice, like, Ardent Shroud is just not being taken because you have too much opportunity cost from the other chapters competitively. Not to say it's bad, it's just not as good as the other ones. Like, everything in Sisters is usable, especially if you build towards it. I think Sisters is one of the most well-written codexes that exists. But there's still like, this is better than that, so why would I take that kind of thing going on?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to Orcs, where they actually have very, very good traits overall.
Yeah. Because
they're doing like 3 or 4 different things.
Mm-hmm.
But there is still usually a clear one.
Well, it's not even that the traits are so good. Like, the Our Martyred Lady trait isn't spectacular. It is good, though. And then the Ebon Chalice trait isn't spectacular, but it is good. Part of what makes it also like a level above is that the Ebon Chalice comes with an amazing Warlord trait, and the Martyr Lady comes with Junith. So both of those have like extra bonus things, reasons why you want to take them. Argent Shroud does not have that.
So the one thing they do well, they have to really do it.
Yeah.
Supremely well.
Yeah. Like Bloody Rose. Bloody Rose has a really good strat, and they have a really good trait, but like they don't have any characters. They don't have any. Their relic is okay. What makes them awesome though is just their trait is so good, and that's like it's so good it's worth taking. But not every trait is like that.
And it synergizes with a very powerful Sisters playstyle.
Yeah. Sit in the corner.
Send missiles. Hey guys, wanted to hear your opinion about the 10-point Reavers. Do you think that's a typo? Was accidentally swapped with the Hellions?
I could see it probably being a typo because 10 points for a bike just doesn't make sense. But also keep in mind they are about to get a new codex, so maybe these points reflect what will be.
I just can't see it because...
I can't see it either. Like, 5-point Poxwalkers and Blight Haulers going on 40 points also in Death Guard. right now makes absolutely no sense. But remember, Death Guard get a book in 5 minutes. So, what's the point of putting out points that are just going to be incorrect in a day or 2 weeks? I'm being hyperbolic. So why not just make them kind of not make sense now? Because in the long term, starting in 2 weeks when Death Guard releases, it will make a lot of sense. I think Dark Eldar with 8-point racks and stuff are falling in a very similar category. So it's hard to say whether or not this is a typo or this is a nod to the future. But it's certainly not current, I will tell you that.
I just can't see them creating a bike unit that should be 10 points.
Yeah, that does seem absurd.
Because it's one more point than a Fire Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Which wouldn't make any sense.
You know what doesn't make any sense?
What?
How this guy is supposed to go on the... Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
Nick building is just the absolute best.
No, but seriously, it doesn't fit. Hold on. Oh, it says don't glue. Wait a minute.
Let's get the instructions out.
What's the next step?
You guys ready for Siege of Augusta? I think only
Mark is gonna
person
go.
going.
Yeah, I think it's just a Mark event.
Yeah, I think Mark's gonna end up going and representing.
I should really magnetize these. That's a job for John.
You could just leave it off.
We're gonna do that.
I was promised a John Hot Takes emote. We've got emotes in the works. Won't spoil what they are, but hopefully we'll have them by the end of the month.
I'm a flamingo.
Nick's gonna spoil them.
I'll spoil mine. I love mine. How does this work though? This doesn't.
It's science, Nick.
No.
It's science. Please.
Is he supposed to face sideways? Oh, maybe. No, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, crap, I glued it. Oh, you're facing sideways now. I'm sorry, bud.
Nick's modeling skills.
That's just a travesty. All right, moving on.
Mark's going to have a field day painting that one.
Let's do that.
What is that?
Don't
look at that.
He's doing a thing where like your boat's trying this way and the gun's going that way. It's one of those.
Unbelievable.
The next one will make more sense.
Hey Nick, what do you think about the Greater Blight drones for Death Guard? They seem cheap enough and pretty versatile for a standard Death Guard list.
Greater Blight drones.
Those are a Forge World unit, I believe.
I don't know what they do. If you tell me what they do, or if I go find the Forge World Compendium, which is over there, I could answer this question. But right now I'm building this Viper. Which doesn't want to be...
Are there any standout units for Chaos and Forge World that you've thought about?
The Dreadclaw I don't hate. I know Mark has been on the Dreadclaw for a while.
What about Auto Recaries and Serac?
No, they don't really do it for me, if I'm being honest. Although somebody did take the two of them to the tournament in Atlanta recently. Not Atlanta, in Georgia. And they won some of their games.
Now for the $1 million question. Does Monka with the new wording allow fallback and shoot, or does it literally do nothing at all? Rules as written, it does allow fallback and shoot, in my opinion.
The only reason why this is contingent is because a lot of playtesters and game designers for 40K have openly come out and said, that's not the way we want it to work.
And then Reese just posted this morning on a on a thread on his website that we should play it as such, unless there's an FAQ.
So we're just
that's
getting
something.
a lot of conflicting reports from various people.
I don't know why they didn't clarify it when they published this, because it had been a question for a while. It's been asked.
It's been poorly handled, and we're dealing with the consequences.
But I think rules as written, yes, it does.
The problem with rules as written, yes, it does, is it's a horrible precedent to set, because there's a lot of rules in the game that make you count as stationary. Exocrines have a strat, for example. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
Random strats.
Salamanders have them.
And it's previously been ruled that those strats do not allow you to fall back and count as stationary. So if that's the intention of the Tau rule, fall back and count as stationary, please spell it out for us very specifically and explicitly.
Yep.
Which they have not done. which means we are either going to get on train with the precedent where, Exocrines are just falling back and shooting, Salamanders, the faction, are falling back and shooting, and all this and that, or we're going to, just play it not and set the precedent that you have to really explicitly tell us if you want this to work that way, instead of just the entire game, not the entire game, but a large portion of the game just getting access to some ability to let you fall back and shoot. Which I personally think is much better from the balance perspective, because if we just make this one little change for Tau, from a precedence perspective, you must then make this change across many factions. There's a lot, and I do mean a lot. There's the two I've referenced, the Exocrine and the Salamander strat, are just the ones that came to mind, but there are more that make you count as stationary. I think the entire Ultramarines doctrine actually lets you move and count as stationary if you're in tactical, which means their chapter tactic, which lets you fall back and shoot at -1, would be entirely redundant, would be a great argument against the Tau working that way. But again, it is terribly written, and this is
and they've known it's an issue for a while, so I just can't understand why they didn't clarify that.
Yeah. As to why they didn't clarify, I couldn't say.
Yeah, we'll see.
But because of the ramifications of playing it,
now would that even make Tau a competitive army?
Yeah, maybe.
Make them,
it would definitely help.
It would help, but it probably would only bring them up to like lower mid tier.
But I'd rather not see the entire power level of the game increase, because
they should make an exception for Tau.
Yeah, if they want Tau to fall back and shoot, just say Tau fall back and shoot. Don't say this, because there are other rules that make units kind of stationary.
Yeah, so I'd expect there to be an FAQ to the FAQ eventually. Not to mention those Reaver Jetblade points. Are you guys finding YouTube a better platform than Twitch?
We find we get more of you guys watching, and honestly, that's what matters to us, so yes.
The thing about Twitch is it's not really as natural for a lot of the community to be there, whereas YouTube, a lot more of our audience is just on YouTube throughout the day, so it makes it a lot easier just to go ahead and click on a video and check us out.
Yeah.
Twitch is very much designed around that video game audience, which there is crossover for sure. We had a lot of people coming from StarCraft streams. And
from a stream user perspective also, Twitch isn't as kind as YouTube, in my opinion, to us as the streamers. I think it gets away with that because they were first to market and had essentially a monopoly on the streaming platforms for years. Like when I talk to people who are like gamers and stuff, and I'm like, I do streaming for a game called Warhammer, blah, 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 blah. They don't ask me on what platform. They don't ask me what my YouTube channel name is. They ask me what my Twitch name is, which is fine. I have one of those. But that's just how ingrained it is into people's brains. Like if you're streaming, you're on Twitch. So Twitch is using that a lot to essentially kind of monopolize and abuse their content creators, whereas YouTube is a lot friendlier with that stuff. Not that Twitch is evil or anything. I'm just saying, like, they have a very strong position in the market and they are not afraid to use it. That's all I'm saying.
Bring It Down being 1 point for 10 wound models is weird. Spam rhinos, chimeras, and it's barely any drawback.
Yes, it is. It is
one of the big things we mentioned in our FAQ video is there's potential for things, and even not just the 10 wound ones, but stuff like mortifiers to easily be spammed, and you're really not losing a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, these are hot takes. Like, you're absolutely right. Vehicle spam is definitely a threat to be aware of, and it's only a matter of time until someone figures out how to best make use of that bring it down change. But the process that is finding out how to best make use of that bring it down change is what we are in the process of doing. I'm going to try some Eldar stuff as I sit here and build Eldar Vipers. Like, I have 2 solo Vipers and 3 solo Warwalkers because they're cheap, they shoot decently, and they're skirmishing and fast. And this would have just been 10 bring it down points for free. And now I just don't even care.
It's the same for Tau when you're running all the Tetras and the Piranhas. Now you actually can run quite a good amount of them, which is a big deal because they're really good board control. Seeks, so you're a Custodians believer finally. I've been a believer for a while. I just thought that Marines did it a little too well, but I think the gap between Custodians and Marines narrowed with this FAQ, which I think is a big deal for Custodians.
It's felt like Marines did a lot of what Custodians did, but with Plasma Scepters and Doctrines and stuff. Because a lot of what Custodians makes them tick is that they're OBSEC and they're durable, and Space Marines are like, we're really durable, meet the Blade Guard, and also here's Rights of War, the Warlord trait. So then it's like, well, why am I playing Custodes? And they're starting to give them some better differentiation there.
Yeah, the update to how AP works, AP modification, is huge for Custodes. I think that's a major
That's
boost.
exactly how I've always played it. I'm the only person in this house who
I mean,
this change.
it was literally written in the core rules.
Yeah, I
how
understand how it worked, and when
Yeah.
you and John were like, it doesn't work that way, I just shut up and listened. But
And that's how it
it
was written.
seems so stupid to
It-
me that I
we
just
didn't say
refused
it
to
didn't
play
seem
it.
stupid.
I just refused to play it that way. Now, that was entirely to my own detriment. But, you know.
What are you
Your
talking
boy
about? You
knows.
never played Custodes.
No, I play Sisters. You think I don't have Ignores AP crap in my army?
Okay, but it's... You
I'm
don't need
just
that as
saying,
sisters.
when you and John play the Space Marine armies that change your AP, and I play the armies like Sisters that, ignore the AP modifications, I'm the one getting the short end of the stick here, which is okay. I'm not complaining.
Custodes rely on it. Sisters don't need that.
They don't.
What's Nick's White Scars list for tomorrow? Is it very different?
It's not very different. It's not the list I wanted to play either. The one I am playing is going to be pretty much John's list, but I take the chaplain out and I took out 5 troops. And I increased from 4 Blade Guard to 9 Blade Guard. So I have way more punchy, but like slightly less utility. But I think Blade Guard and White Scars are really good because they advance in charge. The change I actually want to do is that same exact change, but turn now the 9 Blade Guard into 10 more Vanguard vets. So basically take John's list, if we're using that as the original base, you take the Chaplain out, and you take the 4 Blade Guard out, and then that is 285 points or something, and then that becomes 10 more Vanguard vets. And that's just the change. So I think that's better because I think Vanguard vets are legitimately broken in White Scars. Like actually, this is too powerful. Nerf this, please. Kind of broken. So I was going to spam the crap out of them. But we don't have 30 White Scars Vanguard vets yet. Not painted anyways. So I'm going to just deal with it and play 9 Blade Guard instead. What was me?
And we remember Nick complaining about Blade Guard for an entire 6 months.
Yeah. No. Blade Guard's stupid. People forgot how stupid Blade Guard were because the rest of the Space Marines got really stupid too.
Yeah.
But they didn't get bad.
Is there a difference between the Judiciary Fight Last or Whirlwind Strat? Silent King cannot be selected until all other eligible units has fought.
I've heard there's some difference between the way the Whirlwind Strat is worded and like things like Armor of Rust and whatnot. I haven't looked into it myself.
It's a product of different people writing the books.
What's the technical verbiage?
Cannot be selected instead of not eligible. Cannot be selected to fight until all other friendly
so
background units.
that does make it interruptible?
No.
I mean, just from a rules is written perspective, not like what they intend, obviously, perspective.
I still don't think so. You cannot select the unit.
Yeah, I don't. How does
The strat lets you select the unit.
Yeah, I don't understand what the question is here.
People are trying to get around the fight last, but it's. I don't think it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'll buy it.
Yeah. Now it would be amazing if they could just keep consistent language across, but they keep splitting up the books. It's written by different people, so it's probably never going to be that consistent. YouTube is a better platform. Twitch was down last Thursday, so good call on moving.
That's why we knew. We knew that was going to happen.
Thoughts on Death Guard spoilers? All of it seems very powerful. I think Death Guard are going to be completely meta shaping.
I'm really excited for Death
It's
Guard.
going to come down to
This
like
Viper
what strats survive is. I feel like Cloud of Flies is not going to exist.
Well, I'm not expecting Death Guard to look in any shape or form what it looks like.
Yeah, I
today.
think it'll be kind of more like.
It's going to be a
Necrons.
new book, and that's going to be like the Death Guard book has gotten love in places like Engine War and stuff. But you got to remember that was like the first or second book out of 8th edition. Like that book is almost 3 or 4 years old, probably 4 years old now. Like it's just gonna be a new book, and that's the way I'm looking at it. So I'm very excited for it, but it's not like let's take this and buff the Terminators. No, it's going to be a new book, new play styles, new ideas. Mortarian's got 4 warlord traits. Like I'm not. I don't know what Death Guard are going to look like, but I'm excited for them. Same with Dark Eldar. Dark Eldar I think will also look pretty different competitively. And I know I'm not talking about 30 Reaver jet bikes. I'm very excited for 40k in the coming weeks because I'm personally excited for Dark Eldar and Death Guard, and I think they're two armies that have a lot of potential to become game-changing.
What's the best shade to use on white? I like a watered-down Nuln Oil, but I believe John uses a watered-down version of Agrax Earthshade.
I think it depends. Like white, you can go a lot of different ways with it. You could if you do the watered down Nuln Oil or Agrax Earthshade, you're gonna get a dirtier white with like brown in the recesses, which is perfectly fine. That's just what you're gonna get. You could take a watery gray, or you could take a really watery light blue, and then that'll give you a different kind of tone to your
I've
white.
seen people do blue as well.
Yeah, I personally prefer the blue because I don't like dirty white. I like nice clean white. But
well, you just put it in the recesses. You don't actually shade.
Yeah, but it's the feel of the model that changes. Like blue will make you feel more elegant. Brown will make you feel more realistic. Kind of just depends what the vibe you're going for is. Like John has a painting style he likes that rustic look. He likes realism to his models. He doesn't like the cartoon style. I kind of personally prefer like the glass case cartoon style where it's just like, this is a pretty model, whereas John like wants his to look like they're on a battlefield in the middle of a game, in the middle of a war. So it really depends on what your vibe you're going for.
Also, like the basing that you're going to be using, all that stuff.
Like you want the model to flow. So like if you're going to have brown bases, don't put a blue wash on your white. If you're going to have like a snowy theme, maybe that's where the blue wash will stand out a lot better. So feel your model is one complete picture if you think about it like that. When did I become such a painter?
As a pure Craftworlds player, I want Nick to tell me everything's going to be okay.
Everything's going to be okay. Maybe not today, but at some point.
Eventually. In the distant future.
We're going to try it. This isn't the Craftworlds list I want to try either because we don't have the Shadow Weavers up and running yet, but I think they're worth trying. I want to try a Craftworlds list that's like hyper MSU. Like 9 Shadow Weavers, 3 Vipers, 3 Warwalkers, and then like a crap ton of Dire Avengers. Because Dire Avengers are amazing. And I want that to be my list. Instead,
They fill the void for Eldar, which is struggling on primary.
Yeah. They open up a different void, though, which is getting charged in the face.
Yep, and there's a lot of melee armies right now.
There's a lot of melee.
So wait, Reese is actually saying it actually allows fallback and shoot. If you go on to Frontline Gaming and click on the Tau article that was posted today, Reese posted in the comments saying that play it that way until it's FAQ'd.
I mean...
Which is a reasonable thing to say.
Yeah, that's...
He's like, yeah.
Follow the rules.
He's not telling you exactly. He's just saying, yeah, that seems to be the way it's written.
I personally don't advise that. I advise you to play it the most conservative way possible.
I advise you, if you're going to a tournament, to ask the TO what they're going to rule, and just that's it. Just follow that.
From your own practice perspectives, if you're asking for how to house rule in your house, talk to the people you normally play with. Plead your case.
Brian Pullen's saying that it does too.
But yeah,
Brian knows better than us.
Brian and Siegs are Tau players. Let's not. They are biased.
Reese is a Tau player.
Reese is.
He's a Tau lover.
None of us are the people that can answer this question for you.
Nope.
The only Games Workshop can answer this question for you. So if Reese is telling you to play it this way, and Brian's telling you to play it that way, and Siegs is telling you to play it this way, that does not mean anything. Likewise, if I tell you to play it the other way, it still does not mean anything. Our advice is to get authority, whatever your authority in the moment is, whether it's your tournament organizer or your friends and your local basement or whatever it is. Get someone, hopefully objective, present the facts to them just like it's a freaking lawsuit, where you're like, these are my cases, these are the precedents, da-da-da-da, and then get a decision made. Until then, that's what you can do. Until Games Workshop does, their job, that's what you can do.
Yep. And once again, there's probably going to be an FAQ to this eventually, so that may be one of the things that gets addressed.
Hopefully. One can hope.
Why are people still playing Tau? Gluttons for punishment. Greater Blight drones are 130 points, T7 9-wound models with 14-inch fly move, disgustingly resilient, strength 7 flamer, and strength 7 heavy 4-gun.
Yeah.
It's like an immolator, but less shots.
Okay. How many points is it?
130. But it's T7, 9 wounds, 14-inch fly move with disgustingly resilient, so -1 damage. Stop.
I mean, it's really tough and annoying. Like that, there's good value to being tough and annoying, but as an offensive tool, it's not going to get much done. But it's 14 wounds, fly, decently fast, -1 damage, disgusting.
That is one of the things Death Guard struggled with, though, is the speed.
Yeah, I just not having fly has been a real problem for me in the past with Death Guard. Again, I don't know what new Death Guard will look like. That might not be a real problem for them.
It's Mortarian.
But the fact that this thing flies and is fast and is tough is something Death Guard care about and want in their army. They don't have an abundance of that. So I can see it, not as an offensive tool, but as just a, I can go get and engage in all fronts points, not die, contest objective, not die and exist, and give your army breathing room so you're not clogging up your own movement. Like, terrain density is a real thing in 9th edition, and Death Guard are like, we're slow and don't fly. Walls are horrible for us, so are forests and craters. So having stuff that's kind of immune to that, to ease up your ability to move, that actually matters a lot. That's why in my personal Death Guard lists, I opt for a ton of nerdlings, like 30-something nerdlings, because they can infiltrate wherever the hell they want and clear up my deployment zone. And then they also can move through walls now because swarms are silly. So it's just stuff that can actually move in my army.
We got a lovely super chat from Clown Mode Grover. My group is fighting over the Harlequin's second move.
Ooh.
So does it allow the advance or not?
To my knowledge, it doesn't. I don't really know the argument for why it would, but
Because I think one of the rules specifically says that you can make an advance with it. That might be in the Harlequin's FAQ. I'm not sure.
I'd have to check into it.
I think that's what people were saying.
If someone can make me more privy to the points.
Typically, the specific rules override the general rulebook ones.
Yeah.
However, this is a complete reversal from Games Workshop from what they've been using, not only throughout this edition, but in 8th edition as well. So,
as a Harlequin player, I am personally planning on not advancing in the second move. And again, I prefer the conservative approach, so that way I don't get blindsided when I'm at a tournament or something. And also I don't step on toes and piss people off, and no one can be like, oh, you cheated. And it's like, no. I'm just going to play conservative.
John Lennon is here for a well, actually.
Yeah, all right.
Well, actually, the Harlequin FAQ specifically says that you can advance when you use the Twilight Pathways spell. Calls it out.
Well, then you can advance.
yeah, like generally the.
Is there an emote we can put in the chat here?
Just, John heroically intervening with the rules.
Absolutely, I'm always within 6 inches of Nick. Always.
I still don't buy it, though. I feel like there could be more to the argument.
I mean, it could be that they just go back to the Harlequin's FAQ because they forgot that existed and just remove it.
It could be a lot of things. I know what I did. I glued this one in wrong. But
John, you're gonna hate the way Nick glued this first Viper.
it's gonna be fine. John, I'm leaving the weapons off so we can magnetize them.
Why?
Why would we want to magnetize them?
I mean, are we actually planning to use a Viper twice ever?
Yes.
Look at the first Viper.
Oh,
How it's
look
glued.
at the first Viper. There's nothing wrong with the first Viper.
Look at the guy on the back.
It's just this is glued on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to magnetize the whole thing. I think accidentally glued it and it's in the wrong direction.
Why is everyone being so hurtful?
I'm not. I'm trying to help you.
No, he's trying to help.
Zeke's being helpful.
What kind of glue are you using?
Super glue.
Super glue is the stuff that we'd like pop us in the freezer and pop it off, right?
White Scar still best chapter? I think so.
Yeah. Although I have been
Black Templars.
being convinced of Space Wolves, actually.
I
I am.
John is going to devout push into the White Scars.
I'm gonna bust out the Space Wolves on these streams.
will literally play Black Templars into you. It's gonna be great.
No, I'm not caring for your Black Templars. I'm not trying to lose because I knew none of the rules.
So Nick thinks the Space Wolves are the best chapter, but also doesn't think that they can beat Black Templars. Interesting.
That's not what I said. I said I cannot beat Black Templars. Nick Nanavati will lose to Black Templars because I don't know what they do. That is entirely different from an objective conversation about power level of armies.
Seeing I'm not emotionally ready to paint my 8 Custodes bikes, I painted like 30 of them. I believe in you. I believe in you.
There you go, Nick. I have saved you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See? Good friend.
What are you doing?
How does this work,
What are you
though?
doing?
What are you doing?
I don't know. Oh, I put the chair in wrong. Okay. Now I know how to fix it.
Oh my god.
I don't know that I can fix it, but I know what I did wrong.
Oh no. Oh no.
Nick is the best builder of 40k models.
They need to make these things more intuitive.
You were just praising the old instructions before.
I was.
What do you think about nerfing one of the worst factions, drones now? Yeah, I mean, Tower just not. I don't know what they're thinking. It could be very easily solved with a couple changes, but
Maybe they're gonna get the squat treatment.
I doubt it because they're one of the best-selling armies in 40k.
If they were one of the best selling armies in 40k, you'd think they would love them a bit more. I don't trust these fake stats.
I just don't think the designers have an idea of what to do with them, which is a
I
shame.
don't know where you get these best selling army in 40k stats from. It's just not.
How
something
viable
that's
is...
public.
So we got another super chat. Thank you so much to Clown Mode Groiper. How viable is a pure Craftworlds army with 9 Hornets? I think it's... I don't know if you go for 9, but a bunch of Hornets as part of a Craftworlds army is very strong. They're a very good unit. They can get secondary points for you very naturally, like engage on fronts. They're efficient with all the Craftworld trait buffs, like ignoring cover and the rerolls. And they're reasonably cheap for what they do. I think they're very, very solid.
I did it.
Do they have inbuilt -1 to hit now?
What?
Hornets?
Hornets are pretty terrible, to be honest.
They're terrible?
Yeah, they
Tell us why.
they shoot as hard as 1 1/4 suppressors. It's 4 shots, strength 7, AP2, 2 damage. It's 2 auto hits. Doesn't sound awful, but then like also look at suppressors.
How many points is a Hornet now?
80. You could spend.
Like, it's pretty reasonable for 80 points.
It's not. I mean, sure, it is reasonable for 80 points. It just doesn't do anything.
It's a lot tougher than a suppressor. I think having a couple skirmishing units isn't bad.
Yeah.
How much more is it than a Viper?
25.
Okay.
And that's if the Viper has a star cannon. The Viper could just be 40 points if you don't care about its gun. Like 40 point.
Good argument there.
Yeah.
Does it have flat 3 damage on the Hornet pulse laser?
No, it's flat
It's
2 damage, which is why it's not good in the world of 3-1 Space Marines. Now, you could shoot it at Vanguard Rets and kill 1 on average, and like that's a great use of 80 points. Yep. That's what you could do.
Nick's a big fan of the Viper or the Hornet.
I want to I'm an Eldar fan, right? I'm trying to find legitimate ways to play Eldar competitively in 9th edition. I'm hoping that these changes have given them some love. The list I'm playing on Thursday is not the list I want, but it's definitely a step in the right direction, and I'm here for it. I just am also not in the business of lying to myself. Like, Hornets are not the answer. I want them to be.
Why are Striking Scorpions the best aspect unit?
They are not. They're not. They're not from a rules perspective. They're not from a model perspective. And green on the Scorpions is tacky. It's taxi. Tacky.
It's taxi.
Taxi. It's taxi.
Heck, why are you so critical?
I'm a big fan of the spiders and the swooping hawks and the cool ones. Striking
How do you feel
Scorpions.
about,
I like fire dragons and banshees. Those are great.
How do you feel about
aspects.
serpents?
I like serpents. Serpents are cool.
Okay. Just snakes in general?
No. Specifically the wave serpent.
Oh, I see. Totally different question.
It is. We fixed this one, by the way. John got me on the right track, and then I found out the mistake, and now... See, it's these old kits. Once you learn them, they're really fast. Now I learned it.
No problem on the second one, right?
The second one's just going fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the second one. I'm still fixing the first one.
So Nick, you won with Sisters. How does it feel?
Feels great.
That's Ashley, by the way.
Feels great, Ashley. Tried Retributors. They actually did work. I rolled some 4s.
All the 4s. That was amazing. With your complaining about transhuman the whole time, it was just like all 4s.
Yeah, honest, but the same math it takes to roll all 4s is the same math it takes to
you got the
roll
glory of
all
doing
3s.
that.
I did. You know, it felt great. I rolled well. Siegs rolled bad. Siegs got tabled. It was a great day. It really was. I will say, I feel a little bit like empty because it only happened because I rolled all those 4s, and it's like, well, that didn't have to happen that way. We would have a very different game. So I kind of feel like I ruined the game state with it. But, you know, I guess I shouldn't complain.
Not really. I mean, it was an 8-point game at the end of that, with everything going awfully except for that one turn.
But that's because Space Marines are freaking broken. I don't know what to tell you. I'm complaining about that for 6 months. Like, Space Marines get literally tabled and score 8 points off of Sisters, which are supposedly one of the best armies in the game.
Yeah,
so,
like the fact that it went so poorly and it was still an actual game that's just how strong Marines are.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you.
Yes. Yes.
And none of that power got toned down in the FAQ.
Siegs got unlucky. I got lucky. And I still only won by 8 points. Like, that wasn't a clean win. The tabling was clean, but it wasn't a clean win. To be fair, I also made an enormous misplay with my lack of screening in my backfield because, I just don't believe in basic screening. That's entirely optional.
I kept looking at you and then looking at that corner, and you just were totally oblivious.
It cost me like.
And I was just like, all right.
So really, I won by 20 if I just used basic screening. So we'll leave it at that. I'm perfect.
Don't worry, Nick. Remember those Terminators coming into your infiltrators?
Even when I do screen.
Even when Nick does screen, it's the wrong use.
It doesn't matter. That was a sad day. I spring for the infiltrators these days, so I don't have to deal with crap like Dark Angel Terminators.
I'm rebasing 150 orcs. How are you guys doing?
I'm sorry to hear that.
Glad that
I'm gonna build these 2 Vipers and then I'm done.
Can you imagine if they had like Necron Warriors or any of this? It would just be a nightmare.
If you were what? Warriors?
If I had to rebase all the warriors,
Oh yeah, no.
it's like let's cool the jets with the rebasing of the models. I understand bringing them up from the smaller bases, but we're at a good size for the game right now. I wouldn't want it to get
bigger.
Yeah, even bigger.
I mean, that's what I said years ago, and then it got bigger, and I'm still here playing this game. So,
works. Wow.
Well, works still need to be past 32. So
Yeah,
I'm sorry that you have to do it. That just sucks. For rebasing my sister's army, I didn't rebase them. I just took the 25 base and glued it to a 32, and now my sisters are just taller.
Well, they're the old metal sisters, so
you're actually the right height.
They're actually the right
really
height.
Well.
Somehow that worked. Selling point of the Death Guard Greater Blight Throne is actually that it has the -1 toughness aura baked in. So
that's great. That's actually really good. Why didn't we start with that? -1 toughness is a great aura. I wonder if that stacks with the new -1 toughness, and then it's -2 toughness. Now we're
if the rule is if it has a different name, then yes, it does.
Space Marines wounding Space Marines on 2s with Poxwalkers. That's what I'm here for.
Gundam says Chapter Master John, the actually master. He is the actually master.
He's not even a chapter.
Remember, for Uno Tipo, John will bust out the rulebook.
He will. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but it's definitely something.
That's a actually moment, though. It's like, hold on a minute, we're playing this super chill, friendly game that doesn't matter at all. Let's bust out the rulebook here on a technicality.
Yeah, we were playing last night. It was a very casual game of liar's dice, which is just like you just roll dice and you lie about it. That's all. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's basically like BS, the card game, just with dice. I'm very, very surprised John didn't try to find the rules for that game online or something. I was like, well, technically.
He had it on his phone.
He was looking. He was double checking all the work.
But thanks so much for the super chat, Gundam. What do you think is needed for Blood Angels to be top tier? They are top tier. They have Marines, and then they have stuff on top of Marines. They're definitely top tier. How to make them as good as White Scars? White Scars just have fundamentally broken rules in 9th edition.
Yeah, what's just the ability to fall back and shoot and fall back and charge baked into advancing and charging and extra damage on the way the 9th edition plays is just.
And you've seen
it's so hard to overcome.
The new books that have come out for 9th edition, they've been getting rid of things like advance and charge. So I don't expect White Scars to survive the entire edition.
Not in the current form. They might make White Scars good still.
But
it would look different. Yeah.
Are some of the Marine chapters that are too good and others that are fine, or is the faction as a whole too good? I think there are a couple of rules that they have. That
it's a few individual rules and a few individual.
Selfless Healer Rights of War are broken.
Yeah.
They're just broken.
Selfless Healer Rights of War need to just not exist as warlord traits. That would be a great blanket. This is how to nerf Marines kind of thing. I think units in Marines are really hard to price appropriately because a Vanguard vet sucks in a variety of chapters. Like, literally, they don't do any support for the Vanguard vet, and it's like, why am I taking this guy? And then you toss the same exact Vanguard vet into White Scars, and it looks like it's the most broken unit in the game. So, that's one of the cool things about Marines, because a lot of units like the heavy bolter tap bikes, which I love so much, are terrible in a lot of chapters, but fists make them look good, which is like cool. It's just that White Scars make things like the Vanguard Vet look so broken. It's like, we got to do something about this. Also, plasma scepters are silly. They should just not have the blast.
They should not have blast.
That would do. Stop making them go up in points. 55 is fine. They don't need to be 60, 70. It doesn't need to be Centurions all over again. Let's just take away the blast keyword.
Yeah.
If they were Assault 2, just blanket Assault 2 and 4 shots each total instead of 6 shots per each when the second they shoot a unit of 6 models, that would dramatically change how the unit plays.
There's solutions to this. It's just they haven't been willing because it's still very early in the edition.
Yeah.
And there's still not very many codexes out.
And there's not many tournaments to really solidify the data. This is all just kind of our opinions. Now, granted, our opinions are backed by like literally hundreds of games at this point, but still.
Let's see what we got. What list would you be playing at the Streamer Vegas Open? So we submitted 2 lists for our stream team. One is My Necrons, led by the Silent King, and then the second one is Slaanesh Demons. People had already submitted a ton of Marine lists, so we wanted to be and Sisters, so we wanted to be a bit different. And we still think both those armies are very strong.
Yeah, I would have loved to play Sisters personally, but I think someone needs to rep the Slaanesh Demons, and if no one else is going to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because Sisters and Harlequins were both armies I wanted represented, and they were represented multiple times by other channels. So we were like, well, we'll do something unique to us. And Mark's been working hard on those Slaanesh Demons, so that'll be good to get them on the table. Well, 2 Vipers pretty much down. Now I'm just going to clip out all of the weapons so we have stuff to magnetize. This is a scatter laser. If the time comes full circle where I actually put a scatter laser on a Viper, I would be shocked. But, there was a time...
40k is cyclical.
Man, 40K?
Remember you were running Dire Avengers and Azuremen like 8 months ago?
Hell yeah. And they're back.
And they're back. Somehow.
So I know. I told you. I was like, this is the secret. That was good adjacent for so long, it had to come back.
Harlequin FAQ. Yes, it does indeed specifically say you can advance. Nick, a good place to guess what is the best-selling armies is the amount of reviews on Amazon. Tower, probably the army with the highest average number of reviews.
That's not a bad way to gauge that. Although, so I think a lot of Siegler's hypothesis is that Tau are the number 1 seller.
I did not say number 1 seller.
One of the number 1 sellers. One of the top
They're
sellers.
not even close to Marines. Marines are by far.
One of the top selling factions that is not named Space Marine.
Cool.
How much caveats do I need to put in?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Non-Space Marine bestseller. Siegs' whole hypothesis on this is because Taus often have like a very active Reddit community or places like that, which could indicate they are the number 1 seller or number high up sellers. More people buy stuff, more people want to talk about it. That's very correlational. But I think that would be inconclusive because it could also just mean that there's Tau players are very vocal. And the type of person who collects Tau, which is a very specific type of person, I might add, is the type of person
It's
who
the
goes...
type of person that you are.
types of person who goes onto the internet and talks about stuff.
Nick started with Tau.
Yeah, I did. And when I was a kid, I was a lot more vocal on the internet, on Daka and stuff.
Were you really?
Yeah. You want to know what my handle was as like a 12-year-old?
No, I don't want to know.
Your mom. Spelled wrong.
See, that's the type of person that we're talking about.
That's the type of person we're talking about, 12-year-old Nick. So, that's the type of person who's very vocal on DACA. Might also be the type of person who leaves Amazon reviews. So, this could be a vocal minority case. Vocal minority is a very powerful thing on the internet. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's just inconclusive. Tau could be a great seller. Could also just
get Mike Brand on the phone.
Yeah, he's been on the
phone. What do you think of Data Horde Breacher spam? I don't think Breachers are very good.
No, you love Breachers.
Tau Breachers.
Oh, we're talking about
AdMech Breachers. Okay. I think there are a lot of points for, yes, reasonably durable if you put all the buffs on them. OBSEC unit for AdMech. But every other faction just does that better. And so why am I going to put points into something that is not efficient compared to what the rest of the game is doing in that regard?
I feels.
It's just not something AdMech does well compared to other factions. If other factions got their durable obsec toned down, then sure, I'd like Breachers more. Most factions are getting new models options for 9th edition. If NIDS get one, what would you guys want? I hope they just take the models that NIDS have and make them actually have good rules. I think that's the best possible thing they can do for Tyranids. Is just find a role for some of these units that we never see. Like the Hive Crown.
Look at the Viper with the Star Cannon. Pew, 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 pew.
How long have you guys been playing 40k full-time?
Full-time? I have been playing 40k since 2018, so we're on 2021. Just under the full year of 18. No, the full year of 19, the full year of 20. Just about 2 years for me. How about you, Seeks?
And I have not been playing 40k full-time at all.
Oh.
So.
Well, there you go.
Nick is the... Are you the only person who does it full-time?
I'm sure I'm not.
Who else does it full-time?
I mean...
Just as their only source of...
I mean, Tabletop Tactics does it full-time.
That's true, that's
Starry does it full-time.
Scary does full-time?
Not Art of War full-time, but,
Yeah, but
he does 40k full-time.
Yeah. Scarredcast.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are others as well.
Yeah. So I don't actually... I do...
But I was the initial. I was the OG. The industry has started booming because they saw my wonderful successes. Actually, I have no idea, but I'd like to say I'm a contributing factor. Let me go get the John.
We've got Matt O with a $5 super chat. You guys should
Ooh.
post the super chat totals from time to time so we can do the usual end of month rush. Absolutely.
100%.
I will put an update to that probably at the end of this, after Wednesday's stream, and I'll give it a total for everybody, and then I'll try and do it at the end of every week, especially in those final 2 weeks. But right now, I believe it is Gundam, followed by Gundam's probably super chatted like $80.
Yeah, Gundam's been donating.
I think Lyle is the next at around like 60 or so, if I had to guess.
One day I'm going to win her super chats.
You're just not.
How do you know?
I know you. You'll forget about it.
Do I forget anything?
Nick, do you want to tell me about the tea last night?
No.
Nick was in rare form last night. We'll just leave it at that. Doing his best.
It's a good thing no one was there with a camera last night.
Except for John.
Except for John. He's got the finger sticking up and recording everything.
But thanks so much, Matto, for that super chat. We will definitely keep you updated. How would you guys check an opponent's list in the meantime at a tournament with the points being kind of manual instead of the FAQ dropped and Battlescribe not fully updated?
I personally just assume your list is legal, and then if it's not, it'll come to light eventually.
Yeah. If it's a faction I know well, I'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
But if I don't, an orc list shows up.
Yeah.
Do I know the exact points of all the war gear on there? No.
Right.
But I can kind of...
I can
eyeball it.
I can eyeball a lot of the points.
Like this.
But if you're trying to pull a fast one, then you'll probably get away with it, but you won't get away with it all the way. You might get away with it in a couple rounds, but if you actually win the event or place highly in the event, then your list is going to get scrutinized by the general public.
Yeah. Or if you play somebody who knows orcs well, and then they bring it up to the TO.
Yeah, so it's a super risky venture. Now, of course, there's the accidental, I just got the points wrong because all the points just changed, which is totally reasonable. Double check your work. I got nothing.
Yeah, the onus is on you to make sure it's right.
Yeah, I don't typically regardless of the time, if it's just right after FAQ or 6 months into the current point system, I don't typically double check my opponent's list for legality. I just walk in assuming it's legal. Now, I'll be able to spot illegal stuff if it's blatantly obvious, but if you're pulling a fast one on me for 5 points, I'm not going to notice. If it's a faction I'm not familiar with, I won't notice.
Do you guys have all the models for other streams lists when you're going to play them? We have...
They're taking, the organizers, this Falcon and whoever else is in charge there are going through a lot of hoops to make sure that every channel will be able to play whatever they need to play, as from a model perspective. And I believe Art of War, our channel, has one of the largest collections of models available to them. So I think we are going to be fine as far as models being limitations. I don't think any channel is really putting a list together that we won't be able to also reproduce. But there are channels out there that might not be able to do XYZ list. So they're kind of just putting them on opposite ends of the bracket and hoping it solves itself out, to my understanding. Which it should.
Yeah.
There's enough like collective 40k greatness in this LV Open or whatever the hell it's called. That I'm sure it will run smooth enough.
Yeah, and looking at the list, I'm pretty sure we have all of it. We could even do mirror matches for some of them.
We could do like Space Marines into Space Marines into Space Marines.
Yeah.
Alright, we got the Vipers built. I'm gonna go get the John Lennon. He's gonna take over. And I'm going to go back to plugging numbers into an Excel sheet. What a great day. I thought I retired from that one. Well, John!
Alright, what else we got here? How would that Sisters list look for the no open if you had sent it in? I think it'd look very similar to what Nick played the other day on our stream against my Blood Angels, where it's a nice mix of vehicles and all the hard-hitting Sister stuff. Now, John has several different ideas about Sisters. He wants to run more Zephyrim, especially with their points decrease. And when John gets over here, I'll ask him about what his Sisters' ideas are.
Hold the phone. Everyone needs to hold the phone right now. This is very important. Look at this. This is positive reinforcement from one of the Siegs. I told Brian Siegs, his brother, who was our accountant, that I uploaded some Excel stuff with all the things he looked for. He said, thanks, I'll take a look. And then afterwards, looks beautiful, exclamation point.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. That is the most positive reinforcement a Siegler has ever given me in my life. That's all.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
It's beautiful.
All right, Titans.
John, what are your Sisters' ideas?
Ooh, I have.
Chad is excited about Sisters.
Nick is just leaving his models all over the. Not even cleaning up. Incredibly disrespectful. Hostile work environment right here, folks. Sisters are great. I really love Retributors. I think that they're absolutely amazing. I kind of want to go to 2 units of Zephyrim, 2 units of Repentia. I'll admit I have not fully put all of the points together to actually see what that list looks like, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to end up.
These hobby hangouts are always timed perfectly. Well, we're glad to hear it. And thanks so much for joining us. We get to spend the day working on all the stuff we need for our stream games and hanging out with you guys.
Exactly what we're doing here.
Nick can't be a Nemeser, but at least he's an innovator.
Nemeser Nick. He's really being innovative with the White Scar list he's going to be playing.
Yes.
That's what he's doing. Alright, let's see here.
But yeah, tomorrow is Grey Knights versus White Scars, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That is me versus Nick. Nick gets to finally bust out his White Scars
Yeah,
for the first time in a long time.
Alright, where do these weapons actually go? Like what?
The Viper weapons?
Yeah. Like, where are these?
They go on
supposed
that turret.
Is it like one on each side? Like what is this?
Yeah, I think it's only one-sided.
Alright. I'm gonna pull up my phone and figure out what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, they go up here, John.
You think so?
Yeah, right in here. Right like that.
Oh, okay. That makes some sense. Alright.
That's the holder for it.
Wow, this is just not a good place to...
I didn't read your comment properly, Ashley. What did I miss? Let me see. So Harlequin FAQ specifically says that you can advance off Twilight Pathways if you have Rising Crescendo and fell back in the movement phase. If you didn't fall back, you can advance with it.
So, I honestly think that you guys are just misreading that FAQ in general. I'm pretty sure it says whenever... Like, the FAQ, the generic one that we're referencing, says, like, whenever it says you can move, just make a normal move. But then several abilities say you can move or advance. So you can make a normal move or advance. Like, the Swarmlord's ability says they can move and advance if they wish to. So if you choose to move, you do a normal. If you advance, it's still an advance move.
So then what would that FAQ be targeting?
It would be targeting things like, whatever it's called, Fire and Fade, which says you make a move. And you can't advance as part of Fire and Fade. Perfect Ambush, you move d6 inches, you can't advance as part of Perfect Ambush. I think that's what it's trying to target.
Okay.
Or like, some of the pregame abilities just say that you move 9 inches.
Yep.
You don't advance and go 9 plus d6. I'm pretty sure that's what the FAQ means. Couldn't guarantee that, you know? We can never be 100% sure what a GW is trying to say.
So the clarification might need a clarification.
Huh. If only we hadn't had that already once with this same FAQ in Tau.
I wish they did more of that designer commentary where they tell you, here's what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Because it only takes, a minute to write a sentence or two on your thought process behind it.
All right. There's so many weapons. Are we sure? Is it only one per?
Yeah, it's one. It's one.
All right. I'll probably
each of them
do this
roll.
later because it's going to involve drilling.
How do you guys feel about the base cost of Tyranid warriors dropping 4 points? Will that push them towards warrior spam?
Ooh.
With 2 squads of 9 and the AP modification?
Frankly, I don't think so at all. Warriors, as much as I love them, I think that they're at a point where I could totally take a small unit of warriors, like 3-man warriors as my basic troop cost. Because, that'll hang around a little bit longer than Termagants. But I just think that the problem with warriors is they need to actually do something to justify the points, and no matter how many resources you spend into them surviving, you can't put enough resources to make them do anything once they're alive. It's like, yes, you can keep them alive, well, why are they alive?
Yeah.
To sit on an objective, is that the best thing you could have done with, all of these points and command points and stratagems? Maybe. If you want to kill something, is warriors the best thing? 95% chance of no. I'll say 95. It's possible that warriors are good at killing something. I haven't found it yet. Maybe, like, the mass rank... You know what? Maybe if Poxwalker spam becomes meta, just tons of T4 models without a saving throw, warriors are great at killing that. Scything Talons are easy
7 up
dash.
armor save? Beautiful.
7 up armor saves. We got Tyranid warriors for that, folks.
Sign me up.
The second we start putting in... you know what? Actually, they're actually not bad to Death Guard because they cannot take a weapon that's damaged too. So that's cool. There we go, warriors. You're looking up in the world.
The warrior meta is coming.
The Tyranid warrior meta. You thought Necron warriors were bad? Tyranid warrior time. Great. I'm being a little sassy because I'm just sad about Tyranids. Cheaper warriors is cool, but I think that they're more useful as a smaller unit, frankly, where it's just like, killing them is just more resources than I want.
Lyle, you can absolutely change it if you want to. Just let us know what you'd like to change that matchup to.
Ooh. Lyle is maybe thinking of something besides Blood Angels and Death Guard?
No, that's the one he wants.
Okay.
It's changing Sisters versus the Catan build. Because
Oh.
I keep telling him how bad Catan are, and I think it finally got through to Lyle.
But, I feel like we need to show the Catan off once.
Oh, they're garbage, though.
You painted some.
I did paint them all.
Let's put them on stream.
They're so garbage.
Oh my god, you can
Can I play them
afford-
into anything besides Sisters?
Alright, how about you don't play them into a list that I didn't write? And we'll just call it there, okay? Just stop pairing into a list that John didn't write and we'll be okay. I actually like the Dreadnought list. I can't complain too much, but I'm tired of Space Wolves and Admech.
Let's see. Do either of you have any experience with the Knight Majira in 9th edition?
Oh,
John has been
baby.
talking up the Knight Majira, and he has 2 on the way.
I do have 2 on the way. I do not have experience in the sense that it has not been on the table yet. However, there are some things that I can look at, and I can tell you whether or not it's good without having to put it on the table. For example, just the Tau faction. But also the Knight Megara. The Knight Megara is amazing. It is far and away the best knight available. Now we can put whatever caveat of the best knight available on that because, hey, you know what? It's still knights and it still possesses some of the problems that all Imperial Knights have. But if you're going to play Imperial Knights, I firmly believe that the Knight Megara is the best one to have. I don't think it's even close. Hey, if you want to play knights, play the Megara.
What makes it so good, John?
It is literally made of flat damage 3. It innately ignores cover. It has an invuln in close combat, which is a massive deal because a lot of the things that kill knights are just like, oops, here's AP4 in close combat, no dice, you're dead. Where when Gene Slurcult with Rot Grinders would hit knights traditionally, there was literally no dice rolled. The knight died. Sanguinary Guard with Sanguinary Guard with AP4 power swords. They hit the knight. The knight makes 0 saves because it's AP4, it's a 3-up armor. The knight is just literally deleted. 5-up invuln in close combat, you can rotate Ion Shields in close combat, get that to a 4-up invuln, and suddenly, 1, twice as hard to kill the knight with all these high AP weapons. 2, you actually have a chance to roll dice. Because when the knight player doesn't get to roll dice and gets removed, that's just so much of your army down in an instant, it's almost irrecoverable. You cannot just lose 480 points of model just in a heartbeat. Fun fact for anyone who's curious, and I am, is that 3 Knight Megara and 4 Armiger Warglaves is exactly 2,000 points on the dot. Because Warglaves are also amazing. but the Knight Megara is pretty darn cool too.
That points decrease was super nice for them.
Yeah, I actually have 2 Warglaves nuance sprue like literally right behind me. No, I think I put them in the model closet, but we will be getting those built up and on stream soon as well. Right now I'm working on Mortifiers, in case anyone cannot see that. But the next project after the Mortifiers is to finish up the Knight Army. The Knight Army's been making good progress, but I am still waiting on those Megara to arrive. So once they are in here, we will get to do some fun things.
There's some talk about Packers losing to Rams in here.
That's not something that has happened or will happen, so that's fine. People can hate as much as they want, but we are fresh and rested. I have full confidence. And you know what? If they lose, I'm sure people will come on here and talk smack, but if the Packers win, I'll just come on the paint stream Monday morning and there will be utter silence. Or there will be people talking about how they're going to lose to the Saints, and this will just keep happening until the Packers win the Super Bowl. That's what's actually going to happen.
Zephyr slightly ahead versus T7, slightly behind versus T8, to answer your earlier question, says TK Penny.
Yeah, that sounds right, TK Penny. I'm assuming unless you have the +1 strength from an Imagifier involved. Really need to decide what I'm doing. I'm actually debating taking the... I actually am debating taking the Imagifier and giving it the +1, or the +3 inch, or a range just to get that +1 strength on Zephyr, because if I go more Zephyr heavy, that +1 strength at strength 5 feels really important. And then, God help me, I'm actually considering taking a Canoness with the Rod of Office for a 9-inch or of reroll ones. The reason why that's terrible is that, for whatever reason, they just locked the Canoness's weapons in. Like, if you do X, you can only take Y. So if you take the Rod of Office, the only close combat weapon you can have is a Power Sword. Not the Chain Sword, not the Blessed Blade, which are the 2 good ones. The Power Sword, which does not have a relic option to replace it.
Nice.
So that part's terrible, and you just accept that your Canoness isn't there for close combat at that point. And Bloody Rose, that kind of feels bad. So I don't think I'm going to actually do that, but it's tempting. And then I'm thinking of just having 2 priests instead of the single priest with +3 inch auras. I think I'm just going to go with 2 priests. Because I have 8 elite slots now, and that the points worked out pretty well to just have a priest in there.
It's good too if anybody gets sniped or whatever.
Yeah, and just having a second one is still nice, even though the 9-inch one was really good in the one game I used it. Just having 2 priests might be good. But at that point, I could have like a 9-inch aura of reroll ones, a 9-inch aura of +1 strength, and then a disposable +1 attack character to go a little deeper with the Zephyr, get a little more exposed, give those Zephyr all the buffs, watch them blend people. Because you know what? I really like Zephyr.
What are my favorite Marine chapters? It's Grey Knights and Blood Angels. Those are my 2 favorite.
Lame.
John loves Caldor Drago.
That is not true. Caldor Drago is possibly the worst character in 40k.
No.
Like, as someone who hates Lorgar and Magnus, Caldor Drago might actually just be a worse character, and that's embarrassing.
He burned the Nurgle's Garden. Come on.
Yeah, but it also grew back right after. Like, how pointless is Caldor Drago? He also fell to Slanesh, and that's kind of embarrassing too.
He's the man.
Caldor Drago fell to Slanesh.
He also has the only storm shield in the entire chapter.
Yeah, you know what? He probably keeps throwing them into the warp and losing them. Drago only has a 4 pinball now, doesn't he?
+1 armor saves.
That's fine if I hit him with 8b3.
Drago just stands around the whole game. But he's giving out those rerolls.
Gives out some rerolls, but he's still the old chapter master, isn't he?
Yeah, he's old chapter master. That's why I still take him.
Yeah.
And he might get cheaper when he gets that nerf, which is reasonable.
Yeah, they didn't make the other chapter masters cheaper though, so I feel like they'll just keep him the same. Plus, Caldor Drago doesn't deserve to be taken. So.
He has reroll wounds against demons. They might get rid of that.
Or they may just hate demons.
Grey Knights wreck demons. We didn't know that until we actually played it, but they actually...
I feel like that should have been more obvious. But it was like, the 2CP stratagem sounds so good.
Bringing back the Lord of Change, or, a Great Unclean one or anything. Or
it sounds like it should work.
Yeah, it's like, I keep getting my keepers back. Like, this is awesome.
But it wasn't.
It's not enough.
Is his reroll wounds against demons, is it shooting or combat?
Combat.
Okay.
Oh my god, if it was shooting too?
Just asking.
Fortunately, it's only combat.
But, don't they reroll damage against demons all the time?
Yeah.
Okay. It's still pretty rough. Still pretty rough for the poor demon players. But also, you know what? Not everyone takes Drago. I have to acknowledge that. Not everyone takes Drago.
Yep.
So maybe if they don't take Drago, demons have a little bit more of a chance, because rolling wounds against demons really tilts that matchup. That is the definition of skew right there. It'd be like playing Yarrick or Pedro Cantor against orcs. which I'm just gonna start doing. I'm gonna ally Pedro Cantor and Orcs and challenge Mark to a game whenever Orcs get their new codex. I don't know when it's gonna be, but whenever that happens, I'm just gonna put Pedro Cantor and Yarkand on my list. Like what? I'm just playing with the meta. Just like I'm rerolling every roll ever with +1 attack. What?
Cloud Mode Groiper. Thanks so much again for $2 super chat. John, who is the most satisfying person to heroic into?
Oh, it's Nick. Not even close. It's because Nick is offended that you do it.
Yeah.
Like Siegler, if I heroically intervene into Siegler, it's like, okay, this is an actual rule in the rulebook and therefore should be played with. You know what? What happens when we use literally any other rule?
Yeah.
But
and
Nick
I'll
is
be like, I made a mistake there, or I wanted you to heroic.
You know what? One or the other. It goes both ways sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes Nick Siegler thinks it's a mistake, but actually I think that he thinks it's a mistake, and he's falling into my trap. But Nick is like, really, John? You're going to actually use this rule? Like, I thought we agreed to only use the rules that are easy to remember. I'm like, actually, I agreed to use all the rules whenever I play this game, and Nick just gets a little saltier about it. It's just a little bit special.
The question was,
heard
who's the most satisfying to heroic into?
Are you coming in here to prove my point? No. Okay. I'll admit, I stayed silent when you were complaining about Liar's Dice, so I was like, all right. I just let it ride.
That's what you gotta do. You just gotta let everyone know that you're listening.
Oh, I could have said that quietly if I wanted to, but
everyone
not what I was in the mood
I
for.
don't have bugs in this room planted.
That's fine. Hey, Nick.
Yes.
Do we think that Nick would be the most fun person to devout push into?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
He should be playing against Black Templars.
Well, you know what? We haven't set the schedule yet. We can make it happen.
Right. Let's do
Folks, if you want to see Nick be the first person to play against Black Templars, drop some donations in there. I think we can make this happen, right?
We know Nick's not going to read the rule, that index.
No, I will tell Nick every single rule I have. There is no intentions of deceit here.
Lies.
Just not devout push.
Just not devout push. I'll tell him what it does. It doesn't matter.
Siegler, have you considered kitting out your Blood Angel Vanguard Vet Sergeant with the Relic Blade and Quake Bolts? Found it nice bonus for my other Storm Shield Lightning Claw Vanguard Vets with jump packs. I haven't considered using that strat really, just because I don't run single battalion, I'm lower on the command points overall.
Just to buy the sergeant.
So yeah, I tend to not want to buy extra things. However, I do still like Quake Bolts. It's just I don't have a great target for it in the current list.
Yeah. The problem is I don't like it on a pistol, because 12-inch range is like...
Yeah, and then if it's on another character who has BS3, then it's not reliable enough,
Yep.
and it's like,
I feel like you need someone with like a bolt gun. Like I feel like...
Remember I ran the single Tech Marine that one time?
Gosh darn.
Just to run Quake Bolts?
Quake bolts.
He did nothing, but he hit with Quake Bolts every turn.
That's what you need. You know what? That's what you need. Tech Marine with quick bolts.
Are you guys not on Twitch anymore? We have completely switched over to YouTube just because that is what the vast majority of our community wanted when we put it up for a poll.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers on YouTube over the 2 months that we tested it were much better than Twitch.
Yeah.
So we've done a complete switch, but we really appreciate everybody's support on Twitch.
Absolutely, and we may pop onto Twitch for an occasional thing. We have friends who stream on Twitch.
There.
You know, we still have a channel, so maybe keep following it. But like I know when we're doing the Hammer Out Cancer, the charity event, we're gonna host some of those games, and that'll be on our Twitch channel. But as far as regularly scheduled content, I think everything that we're scheduling is gonna be on YouTube.
Yep.
Let's see here. You know what I love? I love how fast dry brushing is.
I want to be the first game for John's Knights.
Who is this? Who said that?
That's Lyle.
Lyle? All right, Lyle. The Knights are coming.
Has to be played into Nick.
Oh, of course. I mean...
So what should Nick play?
Folks, I promise, we are really I'll try out Nick Zeldar. I think I can beat Eldar with Knights.
Alright, Knights versus Eldar?
Knights versus Eldar. I think I can do that. So, chat, I promise, we are working on Knights. We are getting them here. I've got all the arms magnetized on this Crusader. All the weapons ready to go. I still want to dirty up the yellow on this a little bit, so I'll probably use the airbrush for that. Mostly what I'm waiting on is the Megara, because I have two new on. We've got the Knights on the way, because I think the Megara comes with Knights from Forge World. I think it comes with the errant, so just the base guy with chainsword and battle cannon. And then I've got 4 armigers already here. I have the Morax arms already here. Those are all magnetized as well. We're trying to make this into a whole Knight army, not just a list. But of course, there's a little bit of an overlap there as long as you magnetize the Knights. Just one list becomes anything. And I'm actually trying to pick up 2 more armigers to get us to 6. because the new Warglaives are super duper cheap, and honestly, they're pretty
They
darn
hit
cool.
pretty hard too.
They do hit pretty hard. Like for the points, I think the Warglaives are actually amazing. So I would absolutely love to have an excuse to bust those Warglaives onto the table, because I think they're sweet. All right, so we're gonna work on these ones. So let me think what I'm gonna do here.
Gundam says $5. Catan are garbage. Facts. They're just too expensive for what they do. Any good player can either tar pit them and play around them, or they can just kill them. Like Admech will kill a Catan whenever they feel like it. It's like, oh, I got mortals in every single phase.
That's a real thing.
Awesome.
That's a real.
Your 8-inch moving 350 point model is not going to do anything in this game.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
It hurts. Hurts a little bit.
That's the reason I don't run them.
Mm-hmm.
But in the fluff, I love the Star Gods.
I feel like we should, we can just do like a fluffier game, like bust them out into like a pure Crimson Fist list. Like we'll make it fluffy, okay?
Yeah,
I'll bust out Pedro Cantor.
But yeah, like
maybe,
playing against the top tier sisters list is like. Okay.
I mean, are you willing to take on the Wrath of the Black Templars? I don't think so.
I would take it on because I'm not Nick.
No, you wouldn't. The Black Templars ignore mortal wounds on a 4-up. Like,
I know, but I would
it's
still play
just
it.
like-
I would still play it. But...
Oh, okay. Really, some honor, perhaps.
Yeah.
Rare from Azenos, but we'll accept it.
Honorable combatant, John. That's
You know
what?
what? Actually, oh no, what you'd have to do is you'd have to take Emotech.
The Stormlord?
Because Helbricht, he has like his left arm is like is metal. It's like augmentic.
I'll take
because
him. I'll take Xandric and Oberyn.
Like in the background, Emotech, like right when like the Necrons were first emerging. Like a Black Templar Crusade is like, ooh, new Xenos army? Like, whatever, we're just gonna go trash them. So Helbricht leads a crusade, like no one really knows what Necrons are doing yet. And they get wrecked. Emotech boards the Black Templars like flagship, finds Helbricht, and like he duels him and he's like, you know what? You're not bad. I like the way you fight. So he cuts off his arm, like knocks him unconscious and leaves him alive. He's like, you know what? Respect. Because like they do this weird honorable combatant stuff. Mm-hmm. And Helbricht is just so pissed off that he like gets like the whole chapter together, hunts down Emotech, blows up his flagship, and tries to kill him. Like, Helbricht is like, really? You left me alive? How dare you? Like, that is disrespectful. So he's mega pissed at Emotech. So, like, Helbricht versus Emotech would be a great game.
I do have
I'm trying to get Yarok into Gazgul at some point. That's all I'm saying, folks. Yarok into Gazgul, like, that's just one of those games you gotta do. And see? Lore aficionado over here.
Play the Catan into Custodes and be happy.
Oh, God, no. Please, no.
The Void Dragon.
No.
Who's stronger, Grey Knights or White Scars? We're gonna find out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time on this.
Is
very
that what
channel.
we're gonna find out?
Well, we're gonna find out.
Grey Knights or Nick?
Uh,
No, I got full faith in Nick. I think that the White Scars are still super good. Nick has a lot of experience playing both with and against White Scars, so I think he's going to represent very, very well.
John, have you considered a Jump Lieutenant with the Teeth of Terror instead of the Reaver Lieutenant for White Scars? Less durable, can't turn off OBSEC, but keeps up with the army.
Yeah, I have. I want someone to have OBSEC, and whoever that guy is, I don't want him in combat, is the problem. Where the Jump Lieutenant is like gonna opportunistically go punch something at some point. And you know what? He's got the Teeth of Terror, right? Like, why not? I'm just a little bit afraid. He's also 4 wounds without an invuln. Like, things can go wrong real quick there. He's very vulnerable to an interrupt, and I feel like he's never going to be like in the primary charger. So, and since I don't have any fight last baked in anymore, like a Judicious Jar, that's a little bit less useful as well. He's not bad. There's definitely a lot of cool things you can do with Spaceman characters, so if you like that and you want to take that, not knocking it at all, that would be a perfectly valid choice. I just personally don't want to make that kind of investment into my Rights of War character, because I really want that guy to just do his job, sit in the back, not ask questions.
Are you guys hobbying in a different venue? Doesn't look like Nick's room. Yes, we are in a new venue. Well, really, it's a new house.
We are in a new house.
The apartment, we have a house now.
Excellent.
And
so much better.
Yeah. I had lived in an apartment next door to Nick and John. We just combined that and now live somewhere else. And we have a separate room for hobbying.
Yep.
So we don't have to have Nick's bed in the background.
Now, we could make Nick sleep in here still.
We could.
If you were to, lose a bet. But, just saying.
Any chances that GSC is coming back thanks to the FAQ update?
Wow. I don't think that FAQ really helped Units to their cult.
No.
It made Brood Brothers, their cheapest troops choice, go up 10 points. for no reason at all. Hand flamers went up. Now some of the vehicles went down the Goliaths, and you know what? I was using 3 Goliaths before, so it is not literal darkness. I just really wish they had done anything besides that.
Hand flamers going up.
Yeah. You know, I don't think hand flamers were all that good anyway. Like, I wasn't
No.
really taking many.
But it was just
It's
funny.
just
'cause
it's the principle of the matter.
it's the same thing like Tau getting any points increases. Like, do they need it? Like, let's
this
just
is-
hold off.
It's like, why are we doing this? Yeah, I think Tyranids are significantly better than Jane's Circle right now, and that's sad because I don't actually think that Tyranids are incredible. But I think Tyranids are actually starting to get to that point where they may be above middle tier, which is wonderfully exciting for them. Tyranids deserve some love.
It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute. There was like a month in 8th edition where Nick thought that they were good, and then there was Flyer and Spam. And that's about all that Tyranids have had in the last 5 years.
Do you guys like Mortifier spam?
Oh, am I painting Mortifiers right now? Yes, I do. I think it's great with the new Bring It Down changes. They're just a super cool unit. I have not personally put it on the table. I've played against it once. In that game, unfortunately, the fact that I was playing White Scars and the terrain and mission limits meant that the Mortifiers perhaps didn't get to show off their full potential. But I do think that Mortifiers are super good. I haven't written the list that we're going to be playing on Thursday yet, but Thursday is going to feature a soup of Sisters of Battle and Guard, and I can almost guarantee that there's going to be some Mortifiers in that list. Considering that I'm painting up 12 of them, and I would like to use these Mortifiers that I'm painting, I think it's quite likely. I'm debating on if it'll be the full 12, but I'm kind of guessing it's going to be like 9. As I'm starting to work through that list. 9 seems likely.
John Zephyrin will be slightly ahead if you get them to strength 5 from the Imagifier. For everyone else, we were talking Zephyrin versus Repentia into -1 damage targets.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense to me. I would imagine that the +1 strength, especially into toughness 8, really helps out Zephyrin. Also, it just makes it so much better under the bevy of toughness 5 targets.
Which
There's quite a few of. And especially transhuman things is one of the big reasons why I really like Zephyrin.
Reroll wounds is one of those
Reroll
powerful
wounds is not shabby at all. But Repentia is still really good, so I'm not taking this as an opportunity to cut Repentia. I'm just thinking of maybe 2 units of Repentia, 2 units of Zephyrin, because Zephyrin do different things. They don't need transports. They don't cost command points to outflank. So, maybe I can have 2 Repentia squads and just put both of them on the table, and I can reserve a Zephyrin unit instead of having 3 Repentia and outflanking one of them. Saving a command point in Sisters is legitimate because Sisters do actually have really good stratagems. So I would not at all be opposed to the opportunity to save some command points in my Sisters list for further purging of the enemy. Because, that's what playing Sisters is all about. You don't play Sisters unless you are passionate about purging unbelievers.
Can any character truly be worse than Erebus?
Yeah, Drago. That's about it, though. Drago and Erebus are like the worst 2 characters.
Who's Erebus?
Erebus is the Wordbearer's chaplain from 30k times, who who's one of the first ones to fall to Chaos, and he was like directly responsible for turning Horus. So Erebus was like, yeah, he's not great. He's not a lot of people like Erebus. Siegler, here's a question.
Yep.
If you could have a throwdown between 2 named characters on our stream, who would it be? Like, who are we going for here?
2 named characters.
I kind of like the idea now of like Helbrecht versus Ematek. Where would you go with this?
Deceiver versus the Swarmlord.
Deceiver? The Deceiver.
The Deceiver.
Not the Nightbringer. Okay.
The Deceiver.
This is much easier then. Okay.
The Deceiver.
That's fine. Yeah, that's not a problem at all. We can Swarmlord every time. No problem. No, we can 100% make this
That
happen.
goes back to our Necrons vs. Tyranids game.
Well,
first
but I
game
didn't have the Swarmlord this time, so I didn't have the Swarmlord that game. So this time we have a Swarmlord, and then there will be no problems.
But truthfully,
See, if he's saying the Deceiver, I don't believe that anything he says is truthful. Just saying.
I mean, I like the Silent King into anybody. Silent King's just so epic. He just towers over everybody.
Right. Corsair Crown would kill the Silent King. Guaranteed. No problem at all. We got full faith in this one, folks.
Not even Trajan could stand against his might.
Yeah, it wasn't convenient. I was working with other things. I had bigger fish to fry like any other model in your army. Very specifically those ones.
Yes. John doesn't get trapped by that. He's not going to like try and just send nonsense into the Silent King, though.
Yeah, it's not on my to-do list. Just like, nope.
Is Nick's jersey for sale? We don't have jerseys for sale yet, but we're working on a merch store. So hopefully eventually that will be a possibility. Nick playing Talon to Black Templars might be worth a couple hundred.
Folks,
I mean, to be
there
fair,
is
it's just
literally...
like, there's no hope. Even if Black Templars didn't use their strats.
I would devout push the crap out of him. You think I'm letting him Overwatch? Nope, we're devout pushing.
I mean, honestly, you could win without devout push.
You could.
That's how bad Tower.
Fun fact, Black Templars are actually like a super hard counter for Tau for no reason at all. Devout push ignores Overwatch. As well, this is my favorite part. The Black Templar super doctrine is that a 6 to hit automatically wounds with no roll being made, which means that you don't get drones because you don't roll the wound.
Yep.
That's just.
Well, they also have a 2-up, no fallback.
They also have a 2-up, no fallback from combat. Like, that would be, folks, that would get rough.
Also, it's 9th edition and Tower awful.
Yeah, there's like 50 reasons why. Like, not saying that White Scars are good for Tau, but I think like Black Templars would actually be like the worst possible thing. They just cannot deal with that much raw faith.
It might be Mark's special. Here's my Night Lords plus my Alpha Legion plus my mirror list that he created. It's like, why are you running this into Tau?
When was this?
Remember that Tau vs. Demons game? He originally wanted to run a mix of stuff, and I was just like,
right.
You don't really need all that.
Yeah.
Like, if you take all the hard counters, yes, it's not gonna be a game.
Well, you know what? You need to put that on the table to make sure. You gotta know these things.
Have you lost interest in Praetorian Siegs? Praetorians are still solid in the Silent King build. It's just they're best into Marines. Into other armies, they're not actually that great. I actually prefer having the volume of attacks of Lich Guard.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Also, because I only have so many Chronomancers, I'd rather have a unit that also just has the inbuilt defense natively. Mm-hmm. Whereas Praetorians can only get it from a special character who ignores the dynasty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of...
Praetorians don't have dynasty, so they can't get it from a normal Chronomancer.
That's unfortunate, but that makes sense.
Will you be streaming on Saturday with the new Death Guard Codex pre-release stream? No, but next week we could potentially have Blood Angels vs. Death Guard if we get enough of the Codex.
Yep.
Because that is a stream game that we've been trying to get on there for Mr. Lyle.
We've been waiting for these rules, and we'll have them soon. Yeah, I imagine...
We're going to play Death Guard plenty of times, because we think they're going to be meta-shaping, based on what we've seen so far.
Yep, and we do have a lot of Death Guard. Both Nick and Mark are very good Death Guard players, so we're going to have the people who want to get it done. And Richard and I are just going to be tooling up to kill Death Guard. Yep. That's life now.
We've already been talking about it, like Thunderhammers for Marines. Yeah. Necrons don't really care, because I'm not loading up on 2 damage weapons.
Retributors and Zephyrim are pretty good tools for Sisters. Manticores... for guard. Manticore is going to be good into Death Guard, I think.
Vengeance.
Plague Marines?
Arcadia.
No. Yeah, we're gonna take care of that problem real quick.
What faction would you all choose for the best all-comers shooting list?
Ooh, best all-comers shooting list? I would actually go Sisters of Battle.
As in, like, Mortifiers, Retributors?
Mortifiers and Retributors. Because I think that, like, a shooting list still needs close combat to be competitive. If we're going literally pure shooting with no close combat at all, it's Guard. It's just that there's a reason Guard aren't the best army in the game right now, because that's not the best way to play the game. I think a shooting army wants to have some close combat in it. And as good as Necrons are, shooting isn't a really very fun side effect of Necrons. It's not plan A.
It's a melee army.
Yeah. It's a melee board control army that just rolls 5-ups forever.
No,
you actually roll...
Now 4-ups, John.
Shut up. Shut up.
Can we please make Nick play into the Reanimator first?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm rolling 4s, rolling 1s. This is silly.
Maybe this is it. Nick gets out of the closet by just playing first into everything. Just Nick's up first. No, we would never do that to him. Or Nick would be very sad. Alright.
He'll get to play Death Guard first.
He will get to play Death Guard first. That'll be fun. I mean, I think Death Guard, from everything that GW is previewing, which again is all we know, sadly, Death Guard look like they're going to be really cool. And by cool, I mean really annoying for those of us who refuse to play Death Guard.
Nick lose a bet, so the sun will rise again. Yeah. Nick had quite a situation yesterday.
Oh no. That's alright, I'm not gonna kick him, man.
No.
He's doing well though. Nick is safe and sound, I promise.
He's safe and sound. He did actually finally pay up on a bet, and that was cooking me dinner.
He did.
He cooked me Indian
you know
food.
what?
It was wonderful.
Yeah, it looked like it was really good. I got to have a little bit. I thought it was great. Nick did a wonderful job there. Credit where it's due.
Yep. And then on Tuesday, he's going to pay up on another bet of calling me the Lord of Titan.
Yeah, tomorrow, the Lord of Titan. That's pretty good.
Out of curiosity, is your decision to run the Knight Majera in an Imperial Knight list over a Chaos Knight list motivated for any particular reason?
Yeah. Admittedly, I am literally just not even considering Chaos Knights because I'm an Imperium player. And, you know, other followers of the Emperor who are not Imperium, four-armed Emperor. But I think Chaos Knights certainly could be good. I still prefer Imperial Knights to Chaos Knights, although you know, there's some cool stuff Chaos Knights can do.
T9 is very
T9 is really annoying. T9 on the Megara would actually be just a giant pain. There's just so many things where T9 is not useful at all, and it's like, alright. Like, I guess you can do the +1 damage on a weapon. You know what? Damage 4 on the lightning cannon would not suck. We could always play the Knights as Chaos on stream, I guess. Although, frankly, the paint scheme is relatively Imperial. But I like the rerolls from Crast a lot, frankly. So I'm still leaning Imperium. I like some of the relics and warlord traits. They get a little better than the Chaos Knight ones. Yeah, that's it. It's not that Chaos Knights are bad. I just mostly look at Imperium stuff.
How did Dark Eldar look after the FAQ?
You know,
They look like
they look great.
They look like they expect the codex to have been out.
It looks like that. It looks like we were supposed to have the codex like right now, and they just didn't want to go back and change the document only to rechange it in another month. I mean, we're getting Dark Eldar in about a month. Again, everything looks good for Dark Eldar, but like the current rules are going to be using these points cost for such a low amount of time that I frankly don't think it's worth going out and buying things until we see the rules. Because, like, alright, racks at 8 points per model and units of 20. If racks are an identical rule set to what they are right now, I would go buy about 120 of those. Those are amazing. Like, that is absolutely incredibly good. However, I feel like something's coming so that we don't just go buy 120 racks, because usually Games Workshop doesn't give us absolutely broken things for free. Sometimes they do, but usually not to the Xenos armies. So I'm going to be patient on Dark Eldar. I'm willing to bet that in the next month these things will make sense. I feel like racks have to lose something to be justified at 8 points per model. Like maybe lose their Tide of Trader stratagem, maybe lose the 4-up Invul, maybe not be toughness 5. Like maybe their toughness 4 and the homunculus buff is something else besides +1 toughness. But like 8-point models that are T5 4-up Invul with a Feel No Pain and are good in combat and can just 2 CP get a 20-man squad back, I feel like that's not it. I feel like that's not where they're going with this. But maybe I'm wrong. It's always possible, folks. But Dark Eldar look great. I think just the codex is what we need to see at this point before we go invest some
it's the same
invest
thing
the
with Death
dollars.
Guard.
Yeah, exactly.
All of it is based on these new rules that they're getting.
Like my Phytic Blight Haulers going up 40 points, that makes them look like they're absolute dog crap. But like I feel like they didn't go up 40 points for no reason. So maybe they gain wounds, maybe they get a rule. I don't know. Who can say? Who can say?
How do you make Tau work now? If you're trying to beat an equal skilled player at an event, it's just not going to happen. I just can't see how you beat anybody who's equal skill with any other faction, pretty much. So
You don't think you can beat Eldar? How about Knights?
it's possible. Like it's not impossible that Tau could win that game. It's just
It's hard.
it's difficult.
It's not in your favor at all.
No. So I don't know. They need fundamental rules rewrite. That's what they need.
Yeah.
In the meantime, they could have given the jetpack keyword allow fallback and shoot and drop some of the points, but they didn't do any of that. So Tower just going to be on the struggle bus for a while.
Unfortunately, I would have to agree.
There's really just no sugarcoating it, unfortunately. Are we able to watch this later? This will be available later for members.
Mhm.
So we put it so that the paint stream, we're going to have a public one that's live streamed on Monday, that the replay will become a members only for rewatching. And then Wednesday's paint stream is just for members.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give an extra bonus for the people who really support us.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Get those memberships.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically kind of the equivalent of Twitch. You get the sub badges, the emotes, and then we added early access to videos and the hobby streams.
Mm-hmm.
10 Lich-Guard or 9 Tomb Blades. I ran the 9 Tomb Blades, and they did fine. The problem there is you do really need the Chronomancer buff for them, because you don't want to pay all the extra points for the War Gear options to give them the invuln.
How many points per model is buying them in invuln?
I believe it's 5.
Oh, so that's 45 points.
They get very pricey with that.
Yeah, that is not cheap.
So, like, their offense is very good. You can use the rapid fire strat on them. No, you can't use because it's not infantry. That's the another reason I don't like them. They had to make that 6s or additional hit strat only rapid fire weapons on infantry units. They couldn't make it any more restrictive. It's warriors that have the rapid or immortals that have the rapid fire gun.
Oh, because death marks aren't rapid fire anymore.
Nope. They
Yep.
have-
Yuck.
So, I prefer Lich-Guard. And because I run my Necrons list as Novak, it just makes your melee absolutely obscene. Because Lich-Guard have a 1 CP strat if they're near a friendly Dynasty Lord to get +1 attack. Then you use the Novak strat for another +1 attack. And 10 guys put out 50 attacks.
Casually.
Yeah. Hitting on 2s with My Will Be Done, rerolling to wound with the Silent King is just a heinous amount of damage.
Mm-hmm. I saw that. It killed many things.
What's more valuable, 5 Lich-Guard or 10 Warriors or 4 Wraiths? Depends on what you're running around that. So if you're running the Silent King, I think the Lich-Guard are better, because even 5 of them hit very hard with his buffs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also the most durable for points.
Yeah.
Because they're cheaper than Wraiths. And their offense it fits naturally in a list, whereas the Wraiths, you really need the Technomancer with the Overcharger for +1 attack. You want the Control Node for +1 to hit. Wraiths you need to build around. Warriors, 10 Warriors is fine, especially running a Ghost Arc, but you could spend those points elsewhere and be totally fine with doing so. Because they really don't have any defense. They're there for, you pop my Ghost Arc, now Obsec Bodies pop down on the objective.
Yeah.
Or this turn I get to disembark and charge something, soak Overwatch, tag things with 10 Warriors, like I did against Nick's tanks.
Pretty useful.
Are you playing weekend games? We are playing games during the week now, and that is to get ready for an eventual tournament season in the coming months.
Hi, Nick.
So we wanted to just start with the new schedule now at the beginning of the year, rather than have to switch it midway through.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can hold on to
We do
this
still
schedule
want
for a
to
while.
travel to events and compete and
And beat
win
people.
tournaments. Yeah.
You know,
Nick wanted to beat people.
The beat people doesn't apply to season. I want to beat people.
Are you guys participating in the Las Vegas Open? Yes, we are. We are going to be playing a Necron list. I submitted my Silent King list, and we're also going to be playing Slanesh Demons as our 2 lists.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of Marine and Sister lists already, even though we think those are both amazing factions. We wanted to do something a little different. So we tried to pick 2 factions that nobody else is playing.
Yeah, I think those Necrons are going to get a lot of work done.
So Salamanders, here we come. What loadouts do you recommend for an all Primaris Marines and Dreadnought list?
Ooh, Salamanders?
You might be thinking about Ultramarines, because Ultramarines synergize the best with the Dreadnoughts. I think John and I are both in agreement on that.
I really like Ultramarines. If you want to do Salamanders, though, I think you could absolutely take... just Redemptors are still very good, like Redemptors with like a Primaris Tech Marine and a Librarian, just to give them invulns. They've got access to good rerolls from a Captain. Tech Marine is always useful with all those Dreadnoughts. Like, you can do plenty of good things with that as Salamanders still. I do believe that you'll get more value out of Ultramarines in this instance, but they're definitely not bad at all as Salamanders. The Salamanders, you can give them a Film of Pain, which is actually kind of useful if you take the 6 of Film of Pain relic. It's just that then it only really works on the... I mean, it works on everything, but like you already kind of have a 6 of Film of Pain on a lot of stuff because of the Apothecary. So you have to go really vehicle heavy for that to be worth it. I mean, you can do good things, and Eradicators are still fine if you want to take them in Salamanders. Did they say Primaris only?
Yeah, Primaris only.
Alright, I forget what I was about to say about attack bikes. You can still. I would just go like a very like methodical, a couple Redemptors. Well, the Redemptor is the only Primaris Dreadnought actually, so that's kind of auto included at that point. I think you can do good stuff with that though.
Is the Invictor considered Primaris?
It is Primaris, but it is not a Dreadnought, and that means that it's not -1 damage. And boy, does that make it significantly worse than a Redemptor, it turns out. That is a big old difference right there.
Well, listen to this, John. We have a $25 super chat from Magnus Did Nothing Wrong.
Thank you, Magnus Did Nothing Wrong. I really hate saying those words out loud, but just for you, we will do it.
What up, dudes? In regards to the guard changes in the update, do you think the special weapons squad points change was a mistake? I play Catachan infantry heavy with double heavy flamer chimeras with the track guards spam. What would be a good special weapon replacement if needed?
So the special weapon team, I think you can still take it, honestly, because their plasma guns went to 3 points per model. So the special weapon team went from 30 points to 40 points. So the overall package went up. If you did a 6-man special weapon team with 3 plasma guns, it used to cost 45 points, now it costs 49.
Which is still very reasonable.
It's annoying, because I had to rewrite lists, but like at the end of the day, taking 3 of them going up 12 points, I think it's fine. I think, Catachan Heavy Flamer ones there are actually really, really good, with the Chimeras. I think I would just... honestly, if you're doing Catachan, I'd rather have the 1 random Flamer in the infantry, not on the special weapon teams. But Catachan do have some really cool synergy where they can order... The Catachan special order is to target an infantry unit with a Flamer, and whatever it shoots at, that unit does not benefit from cover for the rest of the turn,
which is a big deal for
which can be a really big deal.
Manticores, which are only AP2.
Manticores are only AP2. Like there are instances where that's actually really good. And full payload Manticores are great in Catachan. And honestly, if I wasn't going so plasma heavy, or maybe if I did the plasmas as a separate attachment, there is actually a lot of cool stuff you can do with Catachan. I think that is marine heavy as the meta is right now, and also Custodes existing. I don't really rate the Catachan melee enough to try it, but maybe if Dark Eldar though is a great time to have Catachan melee. Harlequins, Catachan are great Harlequins. So there are definitely some instances where this could be useful.
How about Arcoflagellants and Sisters? Is there a place?
Arcoflagellants are still not bad. The problem is just that they're just not as reliable as other units because they can't advance and charge and they can't use Miracle Dice. Their melee output is great. I think that you would specifically take them as a hard counter to things that you have trouble with. Where if you are specifically struggling into your local resident Silver Tide player and you just cannot figure out a way to kill 20 Necron Warriors in one to go, well, Arcoflagellants will do that. If Arcoflagellants get a charge in and you have something to soak Overwatch, such as 1 Gemini Superior, or a Rhino, or anything at all in the army, then a unit of 9 Arcoflags will kill about 31 Necron Warriors in one go. And that's enough. That's enough right there, folks. But overall, I don't think that they are worth it just because they're so much harder to deliver. So it doesn't really work, in my opinion, in a pure Sisters list. I actually think it works much better in a Guard list, where something like what I'm doing with like all the Plasma and Manticores, and when you take the Sisters detachment, you start to take units that don't rely on Miracle Dice as much, because you just aren't going to have as many because you're not paying for all the Miracle Dice generators. So like I'm taking Mortifiers because Mortifiers don't use Miracle Dice, so I don't feel bad about the fact that my list generates a lot less Miracle Dice than my normal Sisters ones do. I still, I do generate some Miracle Dice, but that is only specifically like, 1 per turn and then 1 for my Warlord trait that I bought. It's just enough to deliver like 1 or 2 Repentance squads. It's not enough to make a full army go powered. So I think that would be where you use Arcoflagellants, is if you specifically want them as a hard counter. Also, if Orcs ever get popular in the meta, Arcoflagellants will just pick up an Orc unit and throw it out the window. Just 1 unit of 10 Arcoflagellants walk in, 30 boys, as in 30 pairs of arms, 30 pairs of legs, 30 heads, come flying out the back trash compactor, just gone. Just not even close. Like, there is no survivors. So I just don't think that you take Arcoflagellants in a balanced list if you don't have a specific problem you're trying to solve.
Worth taking 3 single mortifiers, or do you think it's better to go heavier on them? Nick actually really likes the individual mortifiers. It's just
honestly, it's yes to both.
yeah, like cheap mission playing unit can get you engaged on
Oh.
fronts very easily.
It's worth taking solo mortifiers, and it's also good to take more. Mortifiers are great. If just how much do you want to lean into that in the list? It's really the only question for me.
I'm painting up 3 Invader ATVs with multi-meltas for my fist. Do you guys ever get models for style or cool factor, or rather than pure competitive power?
Absolutely.
There he is.
Oh my god. All right, this is
To answer your question.
There's a long story here. This is Castellan Crow. This is Siegler's style point right here. We'll see how this shows
one of
up
the
on
worst
camera.
characters in the Grey Knight roster.
He is pretty darn bad. But style points. There are style points to bring Castellan Crow. I'm absolutely willing to take stuff for style points. You don't always see it on stream, but definitely you will sometimes. Castellan Crow is one of those. I'm about to play Black Templars. Like that, I think my next game with Space Marines is going to be Black Templars. That's probably coming next week. We can hope. I'm all about it. Style points are real, like especially in stream games where you're not committing to a full tournament of taking Castellan Crow. 100% you can take them in a stream game. But we also do try to take a lot of competitive, competitive as possible lists, especially in the War Room. We try to bring out what we would consider a tournament style A game list, where I really don't think I've ever played something in the War Room that I wouldn't take to an RTT or maybe even a GT in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Maybe like after the game I would like
make changes
tweak
to
it,
but yeah.
But like the core concept is definitely tournament worthy in almost every case.
How are Tyranids? Their points update has helped them quite a bit.
I think Tyranids are really trying hard to get above the halfway point, and this might be what does it. I think Tyranids are absolutely getting to that point where they're 4-2, a good player can 5-1 with them level at like a super major. I still think that they're a little bit short of true like top tier level. But on the other hand, I could legitimately see a case where like if LVO happened, Tyranids can make top 8. I just feel like right now Tyranids are super matchup dependent, where they punch very well into certain like meta armies. Like Tyranids actually, like I'm specifically talking if you go like a full Hiveguard brick, a double Demakaran, tons of Gaunts, and like the Swarmlord good character support, you actually have a very playable game into Space Marines. The problem is that I think Advec literally auto delete you.
Just too much dead too quickly.
There's way too much dead too quickly.
What do you think about Necrons?
I think that Tyranids have a very playable game into Necrons. Demakarans are freaking nasty. We're working on acquiring those. Hopefully we'll be able to put them on stream.
Into Warriors?
No, not specifically Warriors. You'd need other things for that. But Tyranids have good Mortal Wound output. Like they can put out a healthy 4d3. No, you don't even need to. You have three or four characters that smite. You have pluses to smite. You have rerolls to smite. You have Psychic Scream, which is a Warp Charge 5, no line of sight smite. So you can do and you've got a lot of stratagems that do mortal wounds. So like there's a lot of ways for Tyranids to kill. First of all, Tyranids would dumpster Catan. Like let's just put that out there.
There's a lot of things that would.
There's a lot of things that would. Tyranids have a lot of mortal wounds in different phases and just sneaky things. So like I feel like they would have a good shot at killing Necron Warriors. Just because they can chip them better than most. Even though you would need something like Gene Stealers, which are not a very good choice right now. Yeah. So I probably wouldn't take Gene Stealers, but those would be good into Necron Warriors. What do I need to get? I need to get some white.
How long does it typically take you guys to paint up a 2K army you'll be taking to a tournament? What's the standard? Generally, we're not starting from scratch.
Yeah.
We have a baseline and then we're adding a couple units to fit out the latest version of the list. But John and I can do a 2K army in a week, no problem.
Yeah, if we're just adding units, I think if we're starting from scratch and I get it to the standard I want, that's probably 2 months. For reference, I was bored on a road trip and I counted. I painted a little over 12,000 points to a full tabletop complete standard. Like, this goes to a tournament and it's done, and I don't apologize to my opponent for not being done yet. Because I've done that. There have been tournaments where I just didn't have much heads up and I completely changed the list and units go in 3 colors. And I try to be better than that now, but COVID has helped with the amount of time I have to paint. And I'm trying to make the best of it. It was a lot harder when I was working a different job that I'm no longer working. But yeah, I would say a full 2K army from scratch is probably a 2-month endeavor for me, unless it's Knights. And then if I'm taking any of my factions to 2K, I can probably do that in about a week or two. A week or two heads up to change the units and get whatever I need painted and built. I think that seems reasonable.
How much did the points increase hurt the White Scars build that you run?
You know, very marginally. There was a lot of flex in that army with the infiltrators, where frankly the list was 1960, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it. So, no, I haven't fully put it on paper, but I'm very confident that I could get that army right back down to 2K, because technically the list went to 2050. I'm very confident I could get that list right back down to 2K and still be a very effective army. I think White Scars are still great. Yeah, I mean, I would rather have an extra 50 points, sure, but the changes that I'm going to have to make, which is probably downgrading an Infiltrator squad to an Incursor squad, and then dropping one Blade Guard veteran, those are not crippling.
What are we painting? John is working on some mortifiers right now. I threw some shade paint over some Grey Knights, and now I'm doing some highlighting on my Necron Warriors.
Yep, working on some lovely, lovely mortifiers.
If I can't get my hands on a Silent King, what type of build do I lean into? The custom Dynasty builds are very good with OBSEC and pre-game 6-inch move.
Yeah.
Generally, you're going to be running a lot of the Canoptic stuff, so things like Wraiths, Scorpec Destroyers, or Ophidians are good there. Scarabs are excellent in the custom Dynasties.
Okay.
You'll be running several Chronomancers or Cryptex, at least one Technomancer.
I think these are done.
You could still run Warriors in that build too if you want. Or you could run pure Novak and just go for even more stuff. You'll be less efficient than if you had the Silent King, but you can just have a whole nother extra brick of Warriors plus extra stuff on top of it. So a lot of options, or a second brick of Lich Guard. That could work too. How often do you boys cover Craftworlds in the War Room? On and off. Nick is going to be playing them. He wants Mark to finish the Shadow Weavers. So maybe next week or the following week we'll have Eldar in the stream, and then of course once Drukhari comes out we'll have them in the War Room as well. For the War Room games we typically try and play like top tier meta lists and what like the hottest builds are, but as soon as new rules come out, that's always shifting. Yeah. So
do you have some of the gray contrast paint by any chance?
I don't have any contrast paint.
Is there some in the drawers maybe?
Oh.
I asked because I bought some, and it is not in my paint drawer, so I'm curious where it may have absconded to. It's like the kind of like the 1.5 size bottle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's alright.
I will look.
I think it's like basilicum gray. I'll take a peek at this.
Oh, no, that's not it.
Alright, you can check in there.
There it is.
Cool.
In Nick's paint drawer, folks. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Just gonna round out these mortifiers. This is probably the last color they need, and then I think they'll be done.
If Salamanders did bring old Marines, I know I heard you say attack bikes. Also Vanguard Vets. Vanguard Vets are one of the best old Marine. Lightning Claws.
Yeah.
Lightning Claw or Thunderhammer are the best melee options.
Totally. Adrax Agaton, just take him, please. Just take Adrax, guys. I don't know how else to say this. Adrax is an absolute champion for Salamanders.
What do you think about Mass Seraphim and Celestine? Thinking 24 Zephyrim and Celestine and a Zippy Jump Force, giving them the 4-up invuln.
So I absolutely love Zephyrim. I don't think that you actually need Celestine. I love Celestine. She's one of the best models in the game. She's a really cool character. Her rules are not bad. She's just expensive.
It's pricey because you can get almost a whole nother unit instead of...
Yeah, like she costs more than the 8 Zephyrim. That hurts.
Yeah.
I think she actually costs more than 9 Zephyrim, which also hurts. As much as I want to take Celestine, I have consistently found that cutting her gets enough in the list that I don't feel bad about it. But I do like Zephyrim a lot. I think Zephyrim are super, super good. I think that a competitive Sisters list is probably going to look like 2 Zephyrim units, and a third is not a bad thing. It's kind of like with like White Scar Vanguard veterans. Like, I take 2 units, I'm happy with it. I think if I took a third, it would not be worse. I just don't have a third. So I do like a very zippy force. I just like Junith so much better than Celestine.
Yeah. Well, she's a lot cheaper.
That's a big part of why.
What do you guys think about a Magnus Mortarion list? Well, it could change, seeing as the Death Guard Codex is coming out soon. But right now and in the past, neither John and I are fans of running 2
giant models
that
both require warp time.
Yeah. The problem is they do very similar things. Magnus is more heavy on the mortal wounds. Mortarion hits harder in combat, but it's one giant model that does damage, and there are plenty of tar pits in the game or units that hit you extremely hard, like Repentia. that can just go in and cripple your...
I'm just worried about the fact that they both have the same failure points, where if they get line of sight from X model, or if you fail your defensive buffs, you can get deleted.
Yep.
And the problem is if you're casting more defensive buffs a turn, it's more likely that you fail one, and then that Primarch is dead.
Yep. You're also taking away resources that play the mission, which is a big deal in 9th edition.
Exactly.
Should I pack my talent to the closet until a codex comes out? Honestly, I would. I have.
Do you own any other armies? If
Yeah.
you don't, then no.
It is John Moore, so he does own Blood Angels.
Oh yeah, Tau Dog, or is it just John Moore?
It's John
Either
Moore now.
way, yes.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think you're going to be playing them in a tournament until they get a rules update. How do you guys feel about Nick's Deathwatch matchup against Necrons? Hard counter or manageable?
Ooh, that's for you.
Because it's the stratagem lasts for that sequence of reanimations, the -1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that destructive, personally, because Deathwatch don't have, outside of the one big brick of Plasma Inceptors plus Heavy Intercessors, which they have to get very close to you to do that damage.
Yeah, of course.
You're not really using it. Now, if you're running the Reanimator as well, which I'm testing out, you get +1, so at the end of the day, you're back to where you normally would have been.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, if they target that unit.
Yeah, if they target that unit, but you can spend 2 CP to switch to the unit you need as well.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the Reanimator strat. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just, it's a bit of annoyance.
Mm-hmm.
But Deathwatch have really cool tricks. I think Necrons into Deathwatch is a pretty reasonable matchup.
Yeah. I think it's kind of reasonable for both sides. Like, I don't think
to both sides, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think one side has a dramatic advantage over the other.
Okay.
How many armies do you think is the max number a person with a full-time job and family can reliably play them well and keep up with the changes? This is a $5 super chat from Gundam. Thank you
Oh
so
my
much,
god, Gundam, it's a loaded question because none of us have families. Well, we all have loving families, just none of us have families that rely on us for income.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing. Wow, I'm gonna just hazard a 3, but it depends on your job and your family.
Yeah, it does depend on several things, but
You know, if you've got a family of 1 kid or
honestly,
a family of
if
9,
you have one Imperium army, you've got a Xenos army that you really love,
and then you don't play Chaos and you get a second Imperium
you
army,
get a second
then
Imperium
you're good.
then you should be good no matter what the meta
I'm
is.
joking. Chaos is fine, folks. Even I get tempted.
I know
by
Gundam
Chaos.
likes Chaos. He has Magnus.
I know he likes
likes
Magnus,
Chaos.
but he also likes Custodes, and that's what matters most.
It's either you triple down on Imperium or at least double up on them,
Mm-hmm.
or you try and go for one of each so that whatever faction, maybe you only need to add a couple units to make a really competitive Chaos army.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you start with baseline like Thousand Suns.
Yeah, of course.
It's pretty reasonable, but 3 seems like a good number.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Catachan order lets you reroll the number of shots for the Flamers.
Oh, it does that too, yeah.
The Flamer is
The ignore
great.
covers the
Ignore
better
covers.
part, I think, but
Yeah.
yeah, rerolling shots on Flamer is never bad.
No. Would say 2 main factions, but you should just play Necrons.
Have a Xenos army you love and 2 Imperium armies is
I'm just glad
truest
Necrons
thing
are actually
ever.
good now. Like they needed it.
Yeah,
They
it's
got
been a
what they
while,
deserved.
but Necrons are cool. Like I'm very glad that Necrons got these kind of rules, and this gives me hope that
For
other
the other
Xenos armies,
yeah.
because like I feel like the Necron rules they got are rules that can keep them relevant for a while.
Yeah.
Like Necrons, I get it. Right now they're the new hotness. In a year they're probably not going to be the single best army in the game, but I also feel like Necrons can be very playable in a year.
They've got great tools.
They have
a good
just
balance.
generically good.
It's just a solidly written codex. There's nothing crazy in there.
Yeah, there's not
So
too
they're-
many offensively bad units either.
Yeah.
With the Reanimator getting better.
They could always, in a campaign supplement or something, add some warlord traits that help destroy
Yeah.
your cults or whatnot. So
Yeah, like there's
I think they're in a
there's always
solid
room for
place.
tools, but like I'm just really optimistic that maybe Tyranids will get this treatment eventually. Please, GW.
don't have a family, but I have pets and work out twice a day and have a side business. So that
Twice
equals
a
as much
day,
as
God
family.
bless you.
I think 3 armies.
Three
We're gonna go on
armies.
3 armies.
I'm going to 3.
But,
Custodes, not Thousand Suns. Jeans Thurkle. I'm calling it Jeans Thurkle.
But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us.
Yep.
We will be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, with White Scars versus Grey Knights,
Mhm.
a sub-match for Generalissimo Fred. And then on Wednesday, we'll be back with the members only
Absolutely.
hobby hangout and hobby. So if you want to join us for that, or if you want to watch any of these hobby hangouts on replay, do join us over in the members for Art of War.
Yep.
Really appreciate everybody's support, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.